All right, Mick, man, what's going on, man? Thanks for coming on the pod. Hey,
No
look at
worries,
you
man.
go.
Glad to be on. Glad to be on.
Yeah, I'll get straight into it. How good has it been a Penrith Panthers fan right now?
It's still good, mate. Just gotta have a bit of faith.
Oh, I don't
Bit of
know.
faith. Got to ride the storm. And like I said to most people, you can't win every single year. So,
Yeah.
but my motto is year on year, anyone but Broncos. So when you beat the
Oh,
Broncos, that's a good week.
yeah. It's a fun fact. I thought you only started following when they started winning. That's just a rumor, but
That is
maybe you're
that is
just
a,
so
that is a
used to
rumor that's
winning.
going around. But no, I haven't fucking Penrith for 7 years. They reckon. So it's
No bandwagon here.
couple dark days. Couple dark
Yeah.
days.
So, and your family's big doggies, so it's
They
sort
are
of
big
flipped
doggies.
the
Yeah,
script right now, and
yeah. It
you're at the
was. Yeah, it
bottom,
is
they're on the
flipped.
top.
It is flipped. Dad gets a bit excited at the moment, but
Yeah.
nah, it was a. I don't like why. It's like a
Oh, here we go.
passed down from generation, and I was like, Dad, I have no connection to the Bulldogs. I'm the
Yeah.
whitest Bulldog supporter there is. It just doesn't
Yeah.
make sense.
Yeah, I feel you.
I'm
I feel you on
yeah.
the white side.
So
I get sunburnt, bro. My eyebrows glow. You know what
yeah,
I mean?
and look,
Like,
yeah, exactly. And
yeah.
not talking out of school code, man, but we live in a day and age that people can change their gender. So I'm sure changing NRL teams 7 years ago is not that bad, right?
Oh, he's pulled the gender card. So it's gonna be. You know what? I can do whatever I want today. I can
Yeah,
wake up and be a different fan if I want.
e-
Yeah, okay.
exactly.
That all
Yeah,
started with like off topic nose people. That all started with the bloody Maroons being so good in Origin, and everyone quit on the Blues. That's
yeah,
what that
right.
was. So
Yeah.
everyone just jumped ship because they play for Australia. But you touched on your dad there. What you guys have a pretty full on relationship with the racetrack, but what's life been with your dad just from the start of racing? Like, what's
Yeah.
that? Is racing always been like your tight relationship with your dad?
Yeah, I've got like crazy close relationship with Dad. Obviously, we raced together for so many years since I was 7. So it's talking nearly 20 years now in total from when we started in go karts. But then obviously we speak about work nearly every single day. So it's still pretty cool to say that I'm 28 and still would speak to my dad every single day, and I'd see him every 2-3 days, and every year we still travel the countryside racing. So yeah, super close, and yeah, do a lot together.
Yeah. Oh, wrong page there for me. That's fine. I would say, like, there's a lot of teams that do have a great relationship just when you go in the pits and around the truck. I do feel like you guys are one of those trucks that like, I'm always welcomed in or just, can hang out or even if you are going, not the best, you are still not just like, oh, go away. And I really respect that for what I do. Trying to promote the sport and you guys could be like having a bad night and be like, Code, can you just piss off? Which I sort of, I'm a good judgment of character when shit's hitting the fan. I don't
Yeah.
just whip the phone out and, try and get the goss. I'm not about that. But, yeah, what's the highlight this year, do you feel like, with your dad at the racetrack this year?
Um, Ironically, on that, like I feel like it's probably just the chilled nature from Dad. Like Dad, in general, I would say is one of the most passionate people I know just for the sport. Like
Yeah.
his, anger or putting people offside or whatnot, or how people may perceive him is literally just from passion. He just, wants the best for me and everything that we do. And
Yeah,
I
100%.
think this year we've probably realised back to a sense that we race still as a family and just really encompassing that and going away together and trying to enjoy it. And I suppose in somewhat say live the dream, where Dad's 55 now and I'm 28 and we still travel across the country and my wife comes and my sister and mum and everyone. So probably encompassing that's like really cool and just going back to the memories. There was a time where, you get so caught up in it, it nearly feels like a chore and we sort of
Yeah.
remember go back to basics and it's like, this isn't our job. We go to work during the week and we make money
Yeah.
and we're
Yeah.
fortunate enough to have successful businesses that allow us to go do that. So it's like, hey,
Yeah.
let's sort of ground ourselves again and we're still living a dream. Like it's not our career to race. And don't get me wrong, I'd love to be at that level in another
Yeah.
life, but that's not our life at the moment. And I wouldn't change what we have for the world as well.
But like you said, that's competitiveness. Like you guys do. It's not like you just turn up there just to have fun. You just go into race mode and take it serious. And you always have a beautiful presented race car, fast race car. I feel like you're always chasing your tails if it's not. It's not like you guys are just like that team where it's like, oh well, we're not on tonight. Let's just get through. You know, like you're always trying
Yeah.
to push envelopes and stuff as well. You do say that, touched on your mum there. I only met your mum recently, but
Yeah.
she was like, no, I'm the opposite. I don't watch, but I'm there.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and she's probably not the only race mum that's like that because, you know, they all are, majority of them are like Penny King when you're out
Yeah.
there, or was it Mick crashing? Who crashed? Because I didn't see it and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But she's still part of the team because remember when the other night you had the sore knee and you couldn't get in the car and you had to change seats. She trucked all the way back to Windsor on
Yeah.
race night between a dash or heat or something, got another seat
Yeah.
for you. So that just right there is a family team. You know, she could have went, oh, well, I'm not going back there.
Yeah.
Good luck to you. Sorry. So
Yeah. Being honest, I don't think it was that much of an option. I was very thankful for it as well.
it wasn't much of an option. Yeah, coach, you
when Dad
can
said,
paint a
"Hey,
picture
Mon."
that it's nice, but she was forced and didn't
Yeah.
like it. Yeah.
Nah, she would obviously do that, but yeah, she ran back, got the seat and brought it back. So yeah, we all have our little part in it.
Yeah. With that, real quick, you said you started racing when you were 7. What's your
Yeah.
first memory of motorsport? Not even racing, just you remember being at the racetrack, or it could be
Yeah,
not
I'll
even
tell you
sprint
my
cars.
I'll tell you my first memory of motorsport's really bad.
What do you
So
mean it's really bad?
I reckon I was 4 or 5, and Dad was real G'd up, and I think it was Castle Hill. So he said to me, he goes, "We're gonna go buy you a motorbike, all right?" And I go, "Yeah, cool." So he took me.
You're 5.
We,
5.
I reckon I was 5. I reckon.
Yeah.
And I only have these memories of it, but we essentially went to some Yamaha shop, had a look at it. Dad paid deposit. Then we went to. Is there a motocross track in Castle Hill or something like that?
I don't
think
know.
so,
I'm not a
maybe.
motocross
Whatever.
guy. I wouldn't
Let's
know.
just say it's there.
Yeah.
And yeah, seeing all the big boys ripping jumps, and I cried. Went to the car, come home, was just bawling my eyes out, and was like, "I don't want it. I don't want to do it. Don't want to do it." And then Dad just cancelled the bike, and we chilled for a bit.
What
So
do you
that's
mean
my
you didn't
first-
want to do it? Like, what do you
I was
mean?
scared. I was scared. These
It
boys
was
were like
too
ripping
fast,
doubles
or
and triples and stuff, and I was like, I can't do that. I mean,
so you had a crack, or you just watched it
didn't
went?
even, like,
Just
yeah,
turn that
watched
turn that
and
son
just
bitch
said,
around.
yeah, just cancel the deposit.
Oh,
So that's my first motorsport feel, I suppose. But
So-
other than that,
yeah.
I think Dad had a bit more faith, and maybe I think a year later, Stan had a go-kart under the Christmas tree, and we tried 4 wheels, and yeah, we got going.
Yeah, so that's tar go-karts?
Yeah, type
Yeah,
go-karts.
so what was that journey like? Because that's completely different to dirt racing, but like, was that a path maybe you were leading first, or it was like road racing, or it was like, this is the first race and we're trying?
Go-kart started like super casual, super fun.
Yeah.
I've always been a big guy, so weight is massive in go-kart. So up until like, I think when junior started at 12, there was no different weight categories in light and heavy.
Yeah.
So we were like well over weight in all the divisions, and it's a massive disadvantage. And I would, I don't think I podiumed for like 5 years, right? And I remember Dad even says this memory that other dads would go to him like, "Just Mick enjoy this. Like, he's always happy at the track, and he's never gone home with a trophy or anything." And I just love it, like just talking to friends and that. And then something
Yeah,
changed.
but that's their mentality, eh? Like,
Yeah.
you know it right now. It's bloody hard. Not everyone can win
Yeah.
or podium every week. So
Yeah. And then when we stepped up to juniors, we started taking it really seriously and traveling across Australia. And that's when we really found our stride in it. So like my junior days, I raced like Todd Hazelwood, Anton De Pasquale, James Golding. Like we were all in the same class together. And we would like run toe to toe with them. So we thought at that stage, we're like, we probably can do it. And at that 14 to 16 age, a lot of them like venture off. And Anton like already went to Europe and starts racing Formula Ford and things like that.
yeah,
We did another couple of years in go-karts, and I'm progressed to seniors, and then won a fair few state titles and Australian titles and raced overseas, and that as well, all on tar. But the decision's like so brutal to go to tar racing, and it's like there's no looking back in a sense. And what I mean by that, it's like you don't have a day job and try to pursue a circuit career.
yeah, it's
either
all
you
or
just-
nothing. Yeah,
it's all or nothing, and that idea, I suppose, somewhat not scared me, but it's like this is all or nothing, and you could, end up being 25 and have started from scratch. You've never, had a real job to an extent.
yeah.
Don't get me wrong, a fair few of them make it, but it's through massive sacrifice. And I know Todd Hazelwood and Anton's family are prime examples of that. Like the things that they families put up to get them there is crazy. And
Yeah.
and at that stage as well, Dad's business was a lot newer, so the financial commitment was like really
Huge.
scary. It was
Yeah.
Formula Ford was, 100 grand for state series. And I remember sitting down at the table with Mum and Dad and Dad's business. We literally, like, this is the conversation we had. But like, if we do state series and we win, that's 100 grand. Okay, cool. We can afford to do that. And then we go to national series, 200 grand. And Dad's like, all right, you're the best. Look, maybe we get some funding. We can do it.
Sponsors
so Dad's
and
like,
stuff.
awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then we've just done 2 years. Let's say you've won both of them. Now we've got to go to
Supercars.
Dunlop Series or Super 2.
Yeah.
At that stage, and it's like $500,000. And then we all just looked at each other and was like, well, even if you're the best and you win both of them year after year, how are we going to afford that? Like, are we just going to get to that point and just bank on funding? Or are we just going to then go, oh, 300 grand was cool. Let's just, go get a job. And we'd always followed Speedway at that point, right? I'd done some odd Speedway go-kart races and things like that, and went to Parramatta Speedway a fair few times, and that whole concept was just cool. Like, you can still own all the stuff, you race when you want, you spend that sort of money, get pretty good inventory to start racing sprint cars. And that's honestly what led our decision was that part.
Yeah, like you said, there's avenues, but it's not like your family or your dad had done it. So, getting fun, like, it's not like he goes, yeah, guarantee if we win this series, we're going to get like, this much 100,000 of sponsorship and we'll be sweet, bro. But when it's like, you don't know and you're like, well, we could win, but we still don't know if that's going to progress us to the next level. We've just spent all that money, and it's like, how many people get to that? Like you just said with your guys that went to Europe, how many people sacrifice that and get to that next bit is just so much of a, it's literally, it's a dream. Like that is a dream. That's a definition of, it's very similar to being an NRL player. Yeah. It's all good, but like, it's obviously you don't spend that money, but how much percent do you have to be an NRL player or an NFL player, like in America? Like it's that many people want to do it, but normally it is a thing. Like those road racing, you would know, like we just talked about money. If you got that unlimited funding, you can probably have a red hot crack and be 25, and then your family's got to probably rip a business that you can just walk into back door and be good. But now it comes into like it's crazy, the power of social media too. Like if you got followers, there's half your sponsors like, people like me, bro. Like, I'm not saying for me, but like when you're a race car driver, results and you do some cool socials, it's like a power pack, So when you say like the inventory for dirt racing, do you remember the first chassis you got? How many tires you got? Wings? Like, was it all just sitting there going, "Whoa, how cool is this?"
Yeah. So I remember we got a old J&J chassis from Ian Saville. That we got together. And I remember the go-kart team I used to drive for at the very end, karting world. Those guys actually bought me my very first brand new rivalry tyre that we used like 5 nights.
Yeah, it's wicked.
On it, so I still remember that. I was actually scrolling on our Saller Motorsport page, and I remember when I posted the photo, I was just like wrapped. One tyre, and now we go to Hoosier, and it's 10 grand later in one big lump sum, and load up before we go on the road for 10 races. But how things change.
Do you remember the colour of your car and how did you design your first car? Whose choice was all that?
I remember I did this like real weird design on like paint on like my own thing. But we were good friends with, or we still are with Joel Goff. So I had some sort of mock up, and it was like a grey with blue and yellow in it. So still close to our original sort of colours.
That's Joel's killer image, yeah?
Yeah, correct.
That's his brand. So cool.
Whipped that up, and we only did, I think I did 5 races in it.
Yeah.
And I remember don't know why, but I think my very first race was like a Scott Daly race on that Christmas period.
Huge race. Back then, what year was that?
Well, I don't know what year. I think it was 10 years ago to January. It was 10 years ago.
Bruh, that's like a 60 car field nearly, probably.
60 car field. I reckon I could find it, but I just remember first hot laps was when Parramatta would put the cones out. So
you had to go to the top side.
Had to go to the top, and I still have this vivid memory of like Sammy Walsh in his like red and black like family owned car.
Oh, that was before. That was after Rocket. No,
No,
before Rocket.
Before
Wow,
Rocket,
there you go. That's good.
yeah. Flew under the like cones, just flew mud everywhere because it was so greasy down there just to
Yeah.
get past me. And I was like, holy shit, how am I going to do this? And
Yeah.
then first heat rolls out, and I know it had Steve Kinser in it as well because he lapped me with 2 laps to go. But I still thought
Steve Kinner. That's what I mean. Like, that was probably.
it's pretty
Oh,
crazy.
maybe Donnie would have been there still, probably. Because they
I
had
think
that
Donnie
stuff with
was further up.
smoke. But Kinzer, you know, like, he was running around them. So.
Yeah, Kinser was in his like well, yeah, obviously how many years since Steve Kinser's raced? And
I don't
he was
know.
in
It was
the
probably
bad
the
boy
last
car.
time he was ever there, bro.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, pretty crazy.
So, okay, I'll throw back to that first night in the seat. You hadn't raced anything on dirt besides dirt go-kart, but I mean like no other division at Parramatta, yeah? So you've rolled on that track first time, you're like, oh, this is what it feels like being in a race car on this track.
I raced a junior sedan when I
Okay,
was 14, but I literally only did that. I reckon we did like 8 races.
at
tops.
Parramatta?
One race at Parramatta and like
Okay.
rolled deluxe, junked the car massively.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
So the first night out at doing a Darley, it's huge field. What was do you remember your first thought when you got out after hot laps? Not the, oh my God, how I'm going to do this, but like when people were probably talking to you like how the car feels, you're like, I don't know.
Yeah, I remember it was just like, it just felt so fast just to grasp anything.
Yeah.
Probably felt easier to drive than what I feel now in a sense because you're just not on the wheel as much. You're hardly turning it, you're hardly on the throttle.
Okay.
Like you're not manhandling it like you are now. But yeah.
What do you mean like you are now? What do you mean by that? You're manhandling it. Have the cars changed?
No, I feel like when you just stomp on the throttle and you fly in the front and all those sorts of things. And
Oh, okay, yeah. I'm like, what
Yeah.
has they changed in 10 years? Like, surely not.
no,
Yeah.
no, like, you're just obviously so much more aggressive on the throttle, and the front's going everywhere, and you're banging into the cushion, and
Yeah, okay.
and then it's biking up, and you're getting tired and all those sorts of things, and
Yeah.
pushing set up and all that sort of thing. You're on that fine line that obviously a car that's hard to drive as fast as well, in
Yeah.
a sense. So they were just cruisy days, right? You're just like
Yeah,
driving
just,
a bus, half
nice.
throttle
Bring
around
it
there,
straight. Bring it in straight. Don't give me a thumbs up. Yeah.
That's it.
There you go. You mentioned something like feeling the cush, feeling tight. Do you remember the first feeling of, oh my God, this race car's so tight, I'm in trouble? Like on your first few races? Because like that would be, I couldn't imagine that feeling of just like, she ain't going anywhere. Like,
Yeah.
do you remember and you come in and like, were you grumpy or you were just like, oh, damn, I'm not driving that again like that? Or,
Yeah, I remember I was upset. I thought my dad was going to kill me because I rolled over.
Or you junked her?
Yeah, junked her, I reckon,
Yeah.
5 nights in. It would have been more than 5 because it would have been, I reckon it was my final night of that first year because I just got off you definitely had to do 3 or 4 with that yellow tag. So you had to start
At the rear?
heats.
Yeah.
And I remember starting, I reckon, 4th in my heat, went into turn 3 at Parramatta, right behind someone, full go-kart spec, thinking it was fine. Got real airtight, just pushed all the way and just pushed all out the track and clipped someone's left rear and then just rolled over. Because I just drove straight up the track. So that was my first thing.
But that's not so much it's tight. That was a air plus tight. Like,
yeah, true.
there's no front. But like, was that a thing? Like, you got out and you're like, I'm sorry, Dad, but then your dad like, I seen what happened. Is that the type of no?
No. I reckon Dad was just like, what have we got ourselves into? Jeez.
Yeah.
No, it was all good. They probably thought that was the biggest crash in the world, even though it was just the tiniest one. But just thinking, is he alright and whatnot? But they were pretty chilled about it. And then I honestly couldn't remember after that, like the first big feeling of it.
Yeah. So when like, I've always said this to people. People are like, Code, you ever going to race? I said, yeah, we're not going to have 6 brand new chassis ready because I'm going to tear some shit up trying.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't imagine like these guys. And just have one, but like, where do you find your limit in a sprint car? Like, do you think you've found your limit yet? I know that sounds crazy, and I don't mean to say that, but like, everyone's different. But do you feel like you can be like, obviously Sydney this year is like, get on the fence, bro. Good luck to you.
Yeah.
And like, is there a limit where like, I'm going into this thing and I'm good? Or
Yeah, I reckon there definitely is. Like, I'm probably the first person to say that my limit is like so bipolar, right? And I say that, and Dad
is that
says it, and
no, no,
reckons this
no?
is his
That's not
thing.
a bad thing. I 100%.
Like,
How you feel tonight? You feel confident or not? Like,
yeah. So like,
yeah,
and when I say that, even mid race, like there was a few nights at Sydney when the track to me was just like absolutely mint, like on the fence. And I think it was actually the night I drunked it, to be honest, leading. But I remember that night coming in and after the heat, and I just said to Dad, like when we were in the heat catching people, and I forget who was in front, but I was like to Dad, no one is going to, I remember saying to him, no one's going to rip the fence harder than me tonight. Like I'm wide open on
I
that field. I
remember
feel
that
so
night.
comfortable.
I remember that. Yeah.
And we were just like, we just called it tits. Like we were just mad.
Got it,
And
did, yeah.
and I just like felt like I could rip it harder than anyone. So I'm so comfortable, not afraid of anything. But then there's other nights when if I don't feel comfortable, I'll drive like, you know, the
Yeah.
biggest soft cock in the world. If I'm allowed to swear at you.
Go
And
for it, bro.
that's a bad thing. That's a bad thing in my mind.
Yeah.
That I do. I should probably always try, but I always, if I'm running 18th in an A main, I'm literally just like, well, what's the point? I don't want to build a car for nothing for running 18th.
Yeah.
I don't feel good. We're not there. Even if I drive this thing 10 tenths, I might
Yeah.
finish 12th.
Yeah.
Mad.
True. Yep.
Probably not the best attitude to have, but just given how we are and, not having someone full time and I'm the one that has to fix it all week and work
That's
and
another thing I was
everything
about
else,
to
it's just
say. Like you're
it's
the
just
one
like,
fixing
yeah,
it. Do I want to do
yeah,
this all week for running 12 junking it? So I
yeah,
couldn't
and
like.
it's just like
Yeah.
I'm not fast, I'm not on, so I don't
Yeah.
push it. So it's definitely probably hurt us and probably led to a lot of our inconsistencies. So
Yeah.
it's probably valid on the limit part. Like I feel like I can be call it limitless when I know we can be good,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I know when we're on. But yeah, it's probably a part that I need to work on in a sense, just to, it's not giving up. I suppose you just become so reserved
Yeah,
with things.
like there's factors to that. Like you said, like I'm the one with my dad working on the car weekly. So if
Yeah,
I junk it, everyone hates me because we're
yeah,
working on it, and I hate
yeah,
myself. Yeah, like
yeah, yeah,
So, but where did you feel like you said you had that first rec 5 races in, right? Where did
yeah,
you feel like I'm very capable at running this car? Do you know what I mean? Like where did was there still like obviously there's a window like this is pretty scary. They're going fast, bro.
yeah.
Like, will I ever be up to there? Like, when did you feel like, was there a moment, like you had a really good heat race and you're like, hell yeah, I can do this shit. Like, I'm good.
Um,
Or, like, not mean to smoke up your own
yeah,
ass,
yeah,
but like, I
yeah.
can rip this thing. I'm good.
I don't know. I reckon honestly for myself, probably self like doubt. I said I've probably never even really thought it or believed it enough.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'll still go to like a place like Warner was a prime example, right? I reckon when you
Yep.
sit at the start finish line and watch anyone haul past, I'm like, man, they're going fast. I remember seeing some people that just go average, right? And seeing them and go, and I say it to my wife all the time. I was like, do I look that fast? And they go, yeah, of course. And I was like, oh, good, I'm glad because I was like, they look like they're fast, and I feel like I
Yeah.
would smoke them. So like,
Yeah.
I must feel real fast because you just don't think like it doesn't feel that fast when you're in
Yes.
it. To be honest, to some of those tracks that you see it.
Yeah.
And I always said, I was like, oh, can you just video me? I just want to see if
Yeah.
I look like, or
Yeah.
Sydney's the same thing. I always go, am I ripping the fence like that? Or they go, yeah, you're that close.
Yeah.
I
Am
was
I
like,
on
oh,
it?
okay,
Like,
good.
could I push it
Yeah.
further? Am I up there?
And,
Yeah.
and things like that literally pump my tires up to be like, oh, okay, all right, yeah, I can do this. I can
Yeah,
do
good.
this. So,
Yeah. So Kaylee's got really good at going, yeah, babe.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just yes now. That's all.
yes, you're fast. You're very good. On the
Yeah.
wall. Good boy. Yes.
Yeah.
Keep going. Send it. Yes.
Yeah.
So you touched on Warner with it. It's a big place for your family.
Yeah.
Your family's a classic winner, right? Had
Yeah.
Aaron in the car. Let's wind it back. Where did that initial, hey, Aaron, come drive a Saller Motorsport car from your point of view? Obviously, maybe your dad's different, but like
Yeah.
you being like a younger driver and going, oh, 2 car team now is going to be some work.
Yeah. Well, actually, funny enough, we had someone work for us once, and before it sort of fell out, they started carrying on. I don't know. We got in some like heated dinner debate or something. They were like,
What, one of the crew people you were working with?
yeah, one of the crew people was like,
Yep.
no, Americans would never come drive for Australians or whatever. And we are like, yes, we could. And I remember Dad being like, if I called this person up right now, I guarantee they'd come. They're like, no, they wouldn't. I was like, yeah, radio. So anyway, then had a
Was
falling out.
it a stab though at your dad? Because Americans already come and drive for people. Like, what was that?
I don't
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was a bit. I don't know. It was a bit fishy. So it was
Yeah.
like nearly like a fire. Just be like, 6 months later, we're actually going to make this happen.
Yeah.
And he started scouting. And yeah, he was on the rise. Isn't the word, but on the rise, I suppose, on a national level in terms of top 5-7 drivers.
Definitely. Yep,
overall,
for sure.
You know.
Yep.
Because he wasn't on the Outlaws or anything then. Yeah, it came to mind, and I feel like we sort of got in touch, and he came out just as he was, just started winning 3 All-Stars in a row and that. So it was really cool to, get him at his peak. And he had a fair bit going on. And obviously, if you see what's going on now in the high limits, I said to Dad not long ago, I reckon he's probably getting back to his career best form now.
Oh, 100%.
How fast he is.
You can tell, like, that team from running just at 87 and they had the license, now they're like, nah, we're all in on Aaron.
Yeah.
And it's shown for sure.
Yeah, even just like how fast he is, I definitely reckon he's as fast as he's ever been, I reckon.
Yeah. So early on, what was that like, the two-car team? Like, early on, like, were you trying to, was it like, okay, we've got to focus on him, like he's our big dog, like, at the moment, or like, was it hard on you going like, I've got to take a step back, I've still got to race, but...
I wouldn't mind it because obviously I like seeing, how they do it. We learn a lot in other parts. And I suppose at first we were probably a bit naive. We thought, we might get all these gun setups and everything like that. And it's fair, like we've had a lot of different people in the car, and nothing's close at all. Across all of them.
Everyone's different, as soon as they put their butt in that seat,
Yeah, like everyone's so far. Aaron's so left the field, it's not funny. To me, to Robbie, to Ryan, like... obviously the base stuff, all the running gear is the same, but our own individual things that we do are pretty different. So, we didn't learn anything setup wise, but just obviously how they go about their racing and all those sorts of things was cool. And the whole, from building on that, I've never minded putting other people in the car when work was so busy in that, because it is hard to commit to that level.
Yeah.
I'm still getting, 5-10 phone calls on a Saturday at 2:00 when we're at the track, because the shops are still open. They're a 7-day-a-week business, and we close.
Mick, I need you for this. What do I do?
We close 4 days a week, and something's gone wrong and whatnot, and it's pretty hard at times to be fully focused and whatnot. So when we put other people in the car, we still loved it. We still got the same enjoyment out of it. We learned a little bit, and still had fun away and had that competitive nature. So it was a little bit different at the start. But yeah, obviously that first year we were nowhere near as prepared as what we were the last year to run 2 cars.
But like, you were obviously prepared enough for him to want to come back. It's not like you went, oh, he's like, nah, that's not good, I won't go back there. Like, obviously you've learnt from the first year of travelling and then go, no, we'll do this better next time, or maintenance, we can do this better. Like, was Aaron pretty hands-on with some stuff too?
Yeah,
like helping out and stuff?
And that's honestly probably the biggest compliment that Dad and I will ever give him. Like, he's crazy hardworking in the sense of on his own stuff, and even that last year, honestly, from the very first year, he'd wash the car, do all the maintenance on his own stuff as well. So props to that. And I do know there's obviously, stigma about Americans, and I've never heard any of them do that. So and that's no different to what he does now in America, right? He doesn't have a crew chief, he does it all himself, and goes to the car wash every night. So that part was obviously big, but I do know he was shocked originally with how much. I remember him saying, "It's not about that you have good stuff. It's like how much good stuff you have." And he said, like, even some teams in America, everyone has good stuff, but it's like how much of it down the line, in a sense.
Like you got 5 great things compared to we've only got 2 of that. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I get you.
So I think that part he was shocked at that part.
Yeah, like you're saying he didn't expect you to have that good of gear. He just expected it was going to be good, but not like, oh, you saying I could tear one up and we're ready to go again?
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Yeah, and I remember he did. He tore one out the very first night.
Yeah, well, beautiful. I will touch on. I wanted to know from your point of view, right? Like, it's your family and having Aaron, and obviously Aaron's a figure where in America they either love or hate him. Like, he's
Yeah.
very passionate, which
Yeah.
I'm all about, bro. Like, the sport's always had guys like that, like, you know, your Semi Swindells, you know,
Yeah.
where they're just like, well, cheer or not, you know. So there was a few times in Australia when, you know, stuff on socials went a bit pear-shaped and from, you know,
Yeah.
just clips going around that were out of context or like, how, does it fire you up or put you in a corner where you're like, that's just so not right? Like, how do you respond to that as a family in a way?
Yeah, I think anyone that um, is probably one thing that Dad's taught me from the onset, and whether it's, you know, my actual family by blood or you know, the staff members that work for me or
Yeah.
anyone in our race team, whether it be people that drive for us or our crew, we treat them like family for the whole part, right? So,
Yeah.
you know, anyone that does wrong by them, obviously going to stand up for them, and they're just basic morals that you have for your family, right? So when you
Yeah.
include anyone in that, you're going to get passionate about it, you're going to defend people, you're going to support them, and all those sorts of things. So, yeah, obviously during that period, I feel like those things would just lit a fire under Dad, because it comes back to those real things when you are considered family or you're really close to someone, you know the truth behind things.
Yeah,
So when
yeah.
you see things that are far from the truth, or the whole story's not getting told, or it's getting exaggerated, you naturally get fired up and angry at those sorts of things. And you link that in with Dad, who's so passionate about it, just lights a fire in it, and he nearly owns it, right? Like, I know a period that it just made Dad more motivated. That there are more people that would think, why would you want to bring him out? Or
yeah,
you know,
I don't know how people can say that when you don't know the person.
Yeah,
You're just going off a painted picture or what you've seen on socials, where you're like, how can you like have a personal attack at someone you know as a name and a race car driver? You know nothing about them.
Yeah, it's hard. Like, that's just sport now, though, right? Like what you touched on, there's villains, there's heroes.
Yeah.
You know, there's you know, at the end of the day, I think people don't like people when they're good, to an extent as well. I've even seen on social media now, like a recent, like a beginning hatred for Brad Sweet, or, you know, trolls just ripping on him for continually junking people. I was like, you have to be one of the cleanest drivers that I know. Like, he's, you know, made some mistakes like every other single driver, but putting him in that category. But is it why? What? Because he's won 5 championships in a row, or whatever the number is.
I would say there's a one thing I've seen floating around too, and I mean, I watch a lot of outlaw races. I don't know if I'm missing something, but everyone says like, oh, it's Macedo doing this shit. And I'm like, bro, they're outlaw drivers. They're not here to let someone just walk past them. They're going to squeeze the shit out of them. They're racing for a championship, you know? Like, no, I know outlaw drivers like, oh, yeah, I'll let you pass, bro. You know, I mean, when like I said, I don't go to the races live, or I don't watch, but every time I'm seeing him race someone, it's like, yeah, it was a great pass, or he got smoked. So, I don't know, like, people can paint those pictures, like you said, and obviously Brad with the J-Mac incidents. They were bad. That's what they jump on, but, like, there's been worse still, even though he goes off the ballpark and stuff. But how have you, like, you come through the age of the generation, like the races, your age now, where social media was one of the things you guys actually had to deal with. If stuff went wrong, people start filming you at crashes to get views. You know, like how did you handle the bad side of it? Like, if you seen negative comments or people posting stuff to, you know, they're getting likes and opinions about you, or like we just talked about, but you yourself, like, is there moments where you're like, well, I don't want to be on social media right now? I bet, like, I go through that, bro, with the shit I do. I'm like, I need a few days off my phone, so.
Yeah, no, I agree. I've typically I was someone that, like, took those things to heart massively.
Yeah.
And you know, I'd even think, you know, situations like with Aaron, I'd be like, mate, I'd want to shove my head in a pillow. Like, if I seen people say that stuff about me, I wouldn't be able to read it. It just burned me, because at that stage it burned me, and I'm not even that person, right?
Yeah.
But, you know, I suppose you build a bigger crocodile skin, and I'm trying to think of this saying that I've seen recently on this TikTok reel, but it's essentially like, why'd even take, you know, the opinion of someone that you wouldn't even take advice from? Like, who cares, right?
That's a very good thing there, 100%. Like, yeah, I'm not even going to take advice from you, though. I don't care about you.
Yeah, like, why would I even care? You know, I think there was another one or something. It was like, if I don't have your number, you don't even have the right to give me criticism, or I don't care about your opinion. And I probably stuck to that in a sense.
Yeah.
If I don't have your number, I don't really care what you think of me, to be honest.
Yeah, that's a big thing, 100%.
Yeah, and holding that stuff. But yeah, trust me, in my younger days, like I hated it. You know, I remember there was a crash on YouTube with me and Ryan Jones from the Queensland title.
Yeah.
And there was some context to it before that we were, you know, and I was young then as well. We were racing hard prior, and I said to him before the race, I said, if you chop me in the feature, I'm not stopping. Like, we will crash. Like, mate,
like you went up to him around the drivers, like looking at grids and if you race me like that again, bro.
We'll put it next to each other, right?
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So I told him, I said, if you chop me in the feature, we're crashing. And we were starting second and third. And he got to the lead, and then I was second, then we dropped back to second and third. And we go into three, and he half chopped me or squeezed me, and I just didn't lift. And we both rolled and just flipped our shit off, right? And I got out, and I was linking it at him, right?
Like, I told you.
Yeah. He's in his car upside down, and I'm like trying to go around the car, and this is all on footage on YouTube. And
so you look like. You did just say, hey, if you don't lift, bro, I ain't either. Like,
I remember this comment from this random one was like something like "effing idiot." Old mate runs into him, flips his own shit off, then yells at the other guy, and I was like, "Oh yeah, it does look like that, but mate, you should have had the camera before with what I said." And I was just yelling at him like, "I told you, I fucking told you this is what I was going to do." But
100%.
Yeah, we're now. We laugh about it now.
Yeah, well, of course, right? Yeah, so
yeah,
that's what it's like. You guys are very it's so competitive out there, but I feel like the heat of the moment, then you guys are pretty chill because it feels like, hey, we're both a bit, how you going there? That's like. Are we all good? Oh, you good?
Yeah.
You feel the old, I was going to go rip his spark plugs out. I was going to go rip his leads out. And then you're like, you go over and say hello. Yeah, oh, sorry. Yeah, I know, bro. It's all right. It's all good.
Yeah, it's pretty, like, it's crazy, like, the adrenaline. I reckon I'm crazy, like, rational, like, cool, calm and collected, happy to, like, agree to disagree with, like, a lot of people.
Yeah.
Easy going to an extent. But there's some times in the race car that I see red like it's not normal. Like, flick a switch and I'm like, I'm pretty cool, calm and collected as it is. Like, what do some other people do if they're just linking as it is, and then they hop in this thing and smell some methanol?
Put a dynamite up your ass.
Yeah.
So, that's okay. Big touch. We'll jump in and out of stuff, obviously, when I hear questions from you and stuff like that. But what was your biggest wreck? Do you have footage of it too? Like, do you remember it? Can you find it? Or it was like, just a random race, but it hurt.
Yeah, my biggest wreck would be Toowoomba, just after the Classic when Robbie raced for us at the Classic. I hadn't raced in a fair while. Jumped in the 7 car, went up there, hit a right in the heat, tore the fence down that needed fence repairs in the heat. Oh. And we screamed to get the car together.
Yeah.
Won the B main and then went out in the A and like flipped my shit off to Lux.
Two in one night, bro.
2 in one night. And when I mean this car was destroyed, like it was proper destroyed. The rear end came out that far, then the drive line came out of the uni and smashed everything up in there. And
were your feet hurt?
Nah, I missed my feet that one, but that would have been my biggest. That would have been my biggest wreck. But I've had a
like total write off, like nothing was. The whole car was gone besides the motor, maybe, or the motor was probably hurt even. No, I
remember being at the track for a fair while trying to get the car in the truck. One of those ones with the rear end, and it was a nightmare. But it was on a clip of you.
I'll have to try find it. I reckon we'll find it because that could be a clip right there. Just be like, oh, what's your biggest wreck?
I remember showing people. I remember showing my grandma. And
grandma? She's probably like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
80 little Italian lady, and she just goes like, what were you doing? Were you not concentrating? And I was like, yeah, that's right, no, I wasn't concentrating.
so simple, like, well, what? Well, how? Like, we got to concentrate more, Mick. Come on, mate.
Yeah, as if I just missed like a giveaway sign or something and just not concentrating. So yeah, that was
oh shit.
That would be my biggest one by far.
You touched on having Fari run the car. How'd that one come about? Because that was the 2-team combo, but then also you guys did get into each other and you got hurt a bit. And that was sort of like the end of it, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I don't think that,
No,
the
I
fact that
mean,
I
I
got
don't
good
mean it
had
to say it
nothing to
like
do with it.
that.
Yeah,
That's what I
yeah,
mean. But I'm saying that
yeah.
was like the last time you had a 2-car team type deal.
Yeah, so that went to a wedding, my own though.
Oh, here we
So no, I
go.
was getting married and
Oh, your own wedding. All right.
yeah, my own wedding, yeah.
Yeah.
Only been to one of them. Um, and I think Dad, I don't know, might have spoke for a beard and he was doing some odd stuff with JPM over in Perth and
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
they and yeah, I think I was getting married the week after Easter or something like that
Yeah.
and we went away to Easter Trail with Fari and did a couple shows and that was cool and then they were sort of like, what's your plans for next year? And he said, I've got 10 odd races with JPM and that's when Sydney was opening up as well and Dad's like, well, why not? We can run 2 cars here. So Robbie essentially committed to doing the Sydney stuff on the East Coast with us and on the West Coast with JPM and we pretty much ran the whole season with that and then from then, we raced that season. So when would that have been? 2 years ago, 22, 23 season. And got to the end of that. And we found ourselves in the same heat race. And Robbie come together with someone else in front. And then I had the smallest wreck of my career and broke my back, which is, pretty ironic that you have to do it in such a small crash.
Yeah, I was going to say it wasn't. I remember being there. I was actually. It happened in turn 1 and 2, yeah?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I was sitting like on turn 3, and I just remember going, oh, that's not that big of a wreck. And then, like, no one was moving cars and that. And I'm like, oh, someone's hurt here. I'm like, it wasn't even that big.
No, I wasn't hurt. I got out. I raced again.
Was it? You raced?
Yeah, so I got out. I remember hopping out of the car and being like...
I swear it was... were you stacked? Was that one where you were a bit stacked on top of each other?
No. I just rolled over and just come down.
Maybe I'm thinking of another wreck you or Fari had there, and it was a slow one. It was the same spot because he did that. That track was super fast then.
Yeah,
like
crazy.
That was like ridiculous. So there was a few big prangs there, and it always was in. Oh, do you remember the biggest one I remember was I think it was a match it. And he was wide open into turn 1, and his steering broke. And I mean, he went head on.
Oh
the
yes,
fence.
was that like the very first night?
It was huge, and I just meant, he's cooked. Like that thing's destroyed. Like the sound of it was just like, pow,
I remember that.
Into a fence.
Straight in that fence. But,
so talk about what do you mean you broke your back? Like, did you feel it crack, or just like, that's a bit stiff?
A bit funny.
Or the adrenaline? The adrenaline kept in.
Boys started fixing the car, and I remember going into the front of the truck with my wife and mum, and they're like, "You're good," and I started like putting my hand on the fridge and like twisting my back, and then I'm grabbing up on top of the bunks and like literally just trying to stretch like my shoulders and lengthen out my back. And like, what's up? I go,
because you're getting tight like around that.
It just feels a little bit funny, and then I was even lying on the ground and doing like a cat stretch and
not good. Probably not good for a broken back.
And the boys go fix the car up and they redo the points and I'm starting on the front row. So I went out and won the heat.
Yeah.
So that was mad. And then...
With a broken back, that's ridiculous, man.
So then we go run the B and I remember running third in the B and started to get worse and worse and worse. And
after the B main, like when you finished,
during the B. During the B.
Wow, okay.
And then there was a red light on the B, and I was running third. And then I remember sitting on the red being like, "It's all." Yeah. And restarted, and I could hardly hang on, and didn't make the transfer. Pulled back in. Took me like 30 seconds out of the car.
Still finished instead of pulling in your wildcat. Crazy.
Yeah. And we go to hop out, and Mum and Kayla are like, no, you're going to go to hospital now. Like, go to the thing. I was like, no, I'm not going there. Like, what are they going to do here?
Paramedics, yeah.
Yeah, they're like, go to the hospital. I said, no, we'll just go home. I'll go to sleep tonight. And if I'm sore in the morning, we'll go. And I was like, I hate hospitals. Like, I never want to go to hospital, but I only want to go to hospital if I'm like, literally, if I'm passed out so I don't have to wait in the waiting room. And Kay works at the hospital. So she reckons, she goes, I messaged my friend. There's many people in ED. Yeah. And I go, how many is there? And she goes, there's only 46. And I was like, great.
But what does that mean, 46?
Yeah. So we're then driving there. She's like, let's go home, have a shower, then we'll go. I go, no, we'll just go there now. It'll be done. We'll go home. All good. We'll go and fix the car in the morning.
Yeah.
Come back tomorrow night. Mum and Dad went to bed and we're like waiting there. And then I remember them go, like you hear over the speaker, like medical response team 3 to resus 2. And I was like, oh, right, these doors open. They go like,
Oh,
Michael
that's
Saller, get
you
up.
where you're sitting
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
No, I was in the waiting room still for
Oh,
Indy.
okay. Yeah.
The big doors open up. They call me through in the recess. They say, lie down on the bed. I just had was trying to find these OGO shirts for our team shirts forever.
Yeah.
Just had them for like 2 nights. Lie down on the bed, and the whole team of like 6 nurses, doctors come straight on. They're like, lie down, stay still. They start putting a neck brace on me, and old love gets the scissors and starts cutting. And I go, whoa, 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 whoa. I said, can I take my shirt off? And she goes, no, don't move. And I said, not meant to be rude, miss, but I just walked in here 10 seconds ago. I can get up and take my shirt off. She's like, no, you can't move.
That's crazy. They could have said take your shirt off before you. Oh.
Yeah. Cuts me shirt off. Kay reckons they all get like scissor happy. They just love cutting.
Oh, they love it, yeah.
Yeah. And lie down there, and I'm just waiting. And obviously you start lying down, it gets a bit more painful. And then I go do the scan and come back, and Kay's with me. It's like 12 o'clock at this point.
Yep.
End up being April Fool's, which was ironic.
Oh.
And Kay goes, oh, I reckon you're all right, because usually if you have something broken, they'd come tell you before they write the report because they can see it.
Okay, like just to let you know that it's like, don't move right now.
Yeah, like it's broken, but we're going to wait for the whole report from whatever the person is that reads the scans. And we're waiting, and waited 2 hours, and they come up, and he just so casually just goes, yeah, so you do have a fracture to your forget whatever fracture they called it or whatever, but so many % to your T4 vertebrae.
Yeah, I was going to say T5. It's around that middle section. Yeah.
And that's you just have to wait to see the neurologist in the morning. We just got to monitor. They're like, you just got a lot of bleeding and bruising around the area, which can be from trauma injuries. And I was like, and that's probably because I kept racing.
Yeah, the fractures, like twitching, and
Wow. I wasn't like still straight away, so there was a lot of blood on my spine, and I just sent mum and dad a message to wake up to in the morning, and and then from there I think I was discharged like the next afternoon, come back to the track, and it was probably a lot slower than what I thought it would be, but it still wasn't the pain I thought either. Like it was later on, don't get me wrong, but up until that point I'd never broken a bone ever. So you're not really, you're like, should it be this or is it? Yeah. Well, and I think that's why I raced, to be honest, because I was always like, I'm sure people cry when they break their collarbone or their arm. Yeah. Like, surely if you're breaking your back, like you're going to scream. Like I was just like, it's sore, but it's not like broke my back. Yeah. So we pushed on and then did the follow-up scan, and because it all settles, and then turns out they got to get the blood away, and then it's really see what's going on. Yeah, and then there was another one that I think it was T8 had a compression fracture on it as well. Yeah. In the end, but you still feel it. Took a fair while, like not to feel it, to be honest. Yeah. And probably took. I go back to that night at Eastern Creek. That was the first wreck that I had since I broke my back. And I was that was the first big wreck. And I reckon I never thought about it like. So that's like 2 years nearly, eh? Yeah, but I just never crashed since then. So not that big anyway. So and what would that recovery period like? Like just don't move. Like what was a bit of physio for massaging? Like what was that? You can't really do much at your back. Yeah, so it was. No, like obviously like exercise or movement essentially besides walking for 6 weeks, and then like a slow progression into it, and then physio. But the walking and that was fine, but like the bumps in terms of sitting in a car, going up and down a driveway was like really painful. I just remember the jolting. The getting out of bed was like ridiculous. Like trying to do a sit up was like proper bad, and then. I felt old with because that was April, so we went straight into winter and like cold. Cold, that was proper. But bed was the worst. Yeah, but getting in was okay. It was the out. Yeah, it was the out. Yeah, that up was bad. So it was pretty slow, but we're pretty lucky. Like you tell family or you write in a message you broke your back, like they literally think. Bullsh. Yeah. Yeah, he ain't walking again. Realistically, it's the safest. When I say safest, I don't know if that's the right word. But the least detrimental vertebrae to breaking your back. you're going to break
It's not
any
like your
breakdown.
lumbar or your neck or anything.
Yeah,
So,
or wrist to spinal cord and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
if there's one that you had to choose that one.
Yeah. And okay, you said you only wrecked once in Zen. Like straight away when you wreck, is it like get out and does it feel like when I did it before? Like, or was it because it was
Yeah,
a different wreck,
is.
or did you do your same twist and try remember if that's sore, that's a back, or
Yeah, I have felt it a little bit. Oh no, I actually did crash before then, but not big. But
I was going to
yeah,
say,
I do feel it.
yeah, I mean, you're pretty good. You're not wrong. You're pretty good finishing. Like you don't really tear some shit up, so you're not too bad.
No, I always crash like the race meeting before Christmas period. It puts us so far, but I've done it so many times. It
Like
kills me.
when you're going into a busy week, you extend it by a week because you got to
Yeah, you
work
got
so
two
hard.
cars ready to go, and you got the spare car at the top, and you're like, "Oh, we're going on the road for 4 weeks now. This is mad." And then you junk one of those cars, and you're just like, always do.
Yeah.
It. Yeah.
Talk about on the road there. What made the decision to go do the February Perth stuff this year? Like, what made you just bite the bullet and go do that? It's a big ask. Like, it's a big trip,
it's a
as you
massive
know.
ask. It's a massive ask. Throw in that we were probably running the worst we ever had in 4 years at that point as well, and well behind what we had at times in the year as well.
And even though you had it, you got into a bit of shit at the title as well, eh? Like, your cars were a bit banged up, so...
Yeah, correct. Yeah, damaged a few cars on that run before, and we were not showing the speed that we had earlier in the year. Like, we were well below where we should have been. But it's pretty hard not to look at what Perth had done, and it's just inviting to go race there, right?
Yeah.
It seems exciting, and what was it, 5 races in 8 days or something like that there. So it was sort of cool. So besides the fact that we were halfway there in the sense of
South
being in
Australia.
Adelaide, we had some good guys help us, and Squirrel and Tunksy and that. So we still trucked on over there, and that was my funnest period of racing all year by far.
Really? Was it because the Plex sort of hits you of, wow, look at this place? Like, I'm not saying competitor, like, you guys obviously look at it as a different thing. Me personally, I look at it as, okay, I film, I know where to film from, I get great interviews, it's very easy, accessible, pits are beautiful for me to walk around, everyone's laid out in a nice way. When I do watch from a stand side, I know where to sit, I enjoy it, but for you, it's purely just like working on the race car, comfortable, how they, your driver's briefing, how you communicated there, and the track surface, obviously, and your communication. Like, is that very different to everywhere, or what is appealing to you as a team and a driver?
As a team, the biggest thing for us is like, I feel like we'd spend up there with as much as anyone in terms of a year on racing, and I wouldn't know the exact number, but we're easily over $200,000 a year, right? So you're spending a lot of money, and you want to feel like you're doing somewhat of a professional sport. We're not just doing backyard billy carts. So you go to Perth, and it literally feels like this is a professional sport. Like, everything's so immaculate. They have banners for everything. The amount of staff and help that they have, and how they, from small things, from how they talk to you and organise, and meetings, and everyone's across the same page, and it's run so well. And it's not to say that the track has to be perfect every night. We had a full rubber down racetrack. Like, that's just speedway racing, right? But you add all that stuff in, and you just feel like you're racing a professional sport. You go to other forms of motorsport, they just keep leveling up with how much they cost, right? Look how professional F1 is. Obviously, it's hundreds of millions of dollars or whatever it is a year. I'm not saying it's got to be that, but it feels a lot better than just going to a grass pits that, you just, could be rocking around in a go-kart or something like that.
Yeah, I get you.
Look, like, especially, and obviously Perth do have big teams, but I couldn't even work out. There's probably like $20-30 million just worth of transporters in the pits at Perth alone. Like, it's deserving of the sport, right, to an extent, and it feels good to be a part of that, and that was a big reason in why it was so fun in that sense. And then obviously, not to mention, when you're just in one place for a period of time and you can do 5 races there, the biggest grind when you're doing like a speed week is the travel. Like, 2 hours down the road, finish 2 hours down the road. So when you're just in one spot in Perth, you can enjoy the days off, do a bit of sightseeing, go to the beach, dinner with the guys, meet up with other race teams and drivers and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So it's really fun away from it then as well.
Yeah,
So,
it's like you're traveling with everyone too, like, you know, your other race teams you have great relationships with. Yeah, I want to have a beer and, maybe have a night out. Let's all take our time to have fun. We've been working hard. So it's not like you're going there on your own and you're isolated. You can just message someone or ring someone. So, what did that, is it sort of like high limit sort of set you guys to be like, hey, maybe we should go in February? Like seeing all that, or was it a bit, you've already decided that before high limit?
No, we already decided before it. Yeah, already decided before sort of high limits. Look, we'd obviously, love to do high limits. I'm sure the spectacle would be even better and the professionalism to be a part of it would be even higher and whatnot. But it just doesn't fit in for the dates for us. Like Christmas, for those other years when we're on the road, like it's a slog. And obviously being in Sydney, if you want to go do any of those other speed weeks, the truck's got to be gone on Christmas Day, and that's a big day for Dad, that we want to be home on Christmas Day and not have to be driving a truck somewhere or flying. So the fact that when Sydney had a Sydney Speed Week this year, it just felt so good that you do all your Christmas lunches and all that with family. And
100%.
It doesn't really matter what time you got to wake up, because as long as you're at the track by 2 o'clock on Boxing Day, you go and race on Boxing Day, so it's mad. So it wasn't really the high limit thing. We just thought it would just run in with Adelaide, and it would be our plan to do the same thing again this year, with obviously the Classic and then title at Mount Gambier, and then hopefully head over to Perth again.
Yeah, it's a similar setup, isn't it? I believe it's Borderline has the title. So it's, just a little bit further, not Adelaide, but same, down the south coast and just get there. So... but yeah, like you said, it's like getting the truck there for the high limit, then coming back. Then, like, I don't know. Do you know? I've been trying to ask to find out this question. If they're doing the Red Hot Shootout again in April, or they're keeping it back in January where it's supposed to be.
I've heard.
I absolutely loved the period of it. It was great.
I've heard someone say that they're thinking about doing a similar date. I'm not sure. At the end of the day, the one thing on it, obviously irrelevant of when the date's on, I feel like Toowoomba's, that will run now. The event's going to be a success whenever
it's only, and I spoke to some of the sponsors on the night, and it was like, I want this to be worth more money every year.
Yeah.
Like, and that was one of the things they said, like, I'm only helping if you back me, like, this is going to grow. And, like, so I think they've got the right people in the right places there to have a really, like, ripper. I reckon it could get up to 50 over the next 5 to 10 years. So, and that's what we need.
And I think logistically, when they had it outside that period, it makes it so much more attractive if that Gladstone race the week after links in as a double high-paying show.
Well, it helps Gladstone too, doesn't it, like you said?
Yeah, massive. So, that time of the year, if you finish Speed Week and then any team down south, and still majority, there's only, call it, let's just say there's 40 teams in, there'd be 30 teams in Queensland and call it 20 teams in Sydney. And when I say those numbers, I know there's more cars, but that may travel or do
like that are doing the full swings. Yeah.
So not even those numbers, but then you add in the numbers that are in Victoria, South Australia, they're way higher, right? So the amount of cars that are going to run in Victoria during that period, then drive all the way to Queensland, then drive all the way back to then do Classic.
Yeah, exactly.
And the Australian title, which are what all their aims are, right? They race at those tracks regularly,
and they want to have a red hot crack at those races.
Yeah, they don't want to risk junking stuff before as well, and they're working on stuff or allocating budgets to those races. It's hard for them to truck to Toowoomba to go do it.
Well, it's 20 hours. It's 20. It's a day. It's not like I sometimes forget, like Sydney, we're in the middle where we can go 10-10. Like it's actually, or truck's a bit longer, 12-14, but it's doable. And I've done it. Like in the when I used to work on cars, it was like, I've done the old drive down there, race, drive back. Like that's just what some teams do, like it's crazy, but you do it, so
exactly.
And doing, like you said, like that, maybe it being in that January spot, like you said, will attract not as many numbers. But the people who it sort of works for are the Perth teams. Yeah. Because they go there, go straight to Queensland and only do this, where everyone else is doing
Yeah,
So
there's plus and fours.
yeah,
So fours and against for it.
yeah,
For numerous things, obviously later in the year there's no Americans, but as of late there's how many would do it. I feel like they'll probably get similar car counts on either way that they do it.
I agree.
Um,
Yep, 100%.
and it's still going to be quality. It's just going to be a different range. And if you look back and remember, like the Australian Open at Archerfield, it was always so high quality. There was always big teams that didn't go to do it because they were prepping for down south.
Exactly.
And
Well,
there was
that's
always,
where
there was always 20 guys that could win the race as well. So I think it's going to be the same.
yeah. I
Either date that Tour
I like what you said there too. Is where it doesn't matter what time it is, you're going to get quality field. But I feel like this year, and you guys did it a few times, like you said, when you're not racing, having a driver in. I feel like this year a lot more teams are opening up to do that. Or I know it's obviously a big cost. You're like, I don't want this guy to junk my damn car. Or some teams, it can be a risk for you to go and drive a team. It's like, well, if you wreck it, you got to pay a bit, bro. Like it's a double-edged sword. But I feel like the teams doing that, like even yourselves at Sydney a few times, like earlier, like last season you had Jock, and then this year you had Ryan. Like it helps the speedways create and have buzz about a high-profile driver being there. So like with Newton, like Newton's did it with you, and then vice versa. They brought Cowell over, and then the another car is like the Tullix. Did like McEwen it a bit, then Pickens a bit. They even had Jack Williams from Perth, like giving him an opportunity for his family and team to come race. I think like Marcus did it with the Olbeck team, and Marcus again with his other car down south. That's a different team. It's not the white 47. Like it's all different stuff like that. I feel like people are trying to race more, and that gets me excited. Like, it's just more laps and more cars and. It sort of helps the tracks not to also have to pay for tow money where you're like, he's just flying here, bro. It's all good. We got the gear for him.
Exactly.
So have you ever thought about like when your time, you decide to, if you have kids or if you, whatever, putting like you having a team yourself, running it like your dad, or if you're not driving, you're done with it?
I don't know. I don't think time's like such a big thing that I reckon. Obviously, if I got to the part where you can afford it that much that you can just, have someone running it, it'd be a cool thing. But then I say on the same token that I know how much it costs. So if I could afford that, I'd prefer to probably do something else and then as well. But I could see myself, if I wasn't racing, still probably being in the sport one way or another. Like I do love working on them and feel like I know a fair bit and whatnot. But obviously for now, still feel like I've got a couple more things to tick off before I can.
I'm not saying like tomorrow you're going to retire tomorrow. Relax, bro. I'm just saying long term. Flick the squid.
I thought you were hinting something.
No. Apparently Binny's pretty keen. You reckon he's Max Verstappen? Where did this idea come from? This is my little H-Man shirt I picked up for you guys. He absolutely loves it. But whose idea was this brilliant Lego idea? Because I missed it. I don't know. I need one of these shirts. I still haven't got one yet. But
we've got something cool coming next season for the Lego.
There you go.
Done a little upgrade.
Unreal. Look at that. Yeah. How did that come about?
So I messaged Heater.
Yeah.
So Matt in NZ does all our design stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, hey, I want to do like a cool kids concept shirt. And obviously at that point, I think Jock had done Super Mario. I think that's what it was.
Even though you say real quick they're kids, bro, but I'm an adult and I'm like, that's cool.
Yeah, exactly.
So I get it as kids, but like we were once kids frothing over Lego.
I think Lego is a real good split because
100%.
Adults buy Lego. There's Lego that's ages 15 plus that can put the thing together. So it sort of actually builds to a good audience. And I said, hey, I want to come up with any. Do you have any ideas? And he goes, oh yeah, let me think about it. And then I hit him with Hot Wheels at that stage, right?
Yeah.
And I said, oh, I reckon Hot Wheels can work. It'll be mad. And he goes, oh yeah, that's a really good idea. Sounds good. And then he replied back to me and goes, actually, I just had another thought. What do you think, Lego? And I was like, do you reckon you can build the car out of Lego and then just use my name as similar to the logo? And he goes, yep, sounds good, done. And then come back with a few things. And I was like, nah, that's not exactly what I thought. Can you keep trying? And
What do you remember the ones that didn't work? Like try pitch them to me. What didn't work about him? Like, cause
he was trying to do
this rocks, bro.
He was trying to do my name out of Lego pieces.
Oh, like his blocks.
Yeah.
So there was gonna be no car on it?
No, there was gonna be a car, but I think he just struggled. Like, obviously, I couldn't imagine how hard that would be to work. And I sort of said to him, I reckon we said the design in something like January, and it was April. And I go, hey man, do you have any update? He goes, oh, honestly, it's just really hard. I'm still trying to work on it. Send me a few things, and then I just go, man, if it's too hard, don't worry about it. Like, we'll just do Hot Wheels. And he goes, no, I really want to do it. I really want to do it.
Yeah.
And then I sent him like a screenshot. I was like, surely you can put my suit on the little guy, the Lego man. So I was like, let's get that on there with a checker flag, and then try and do a car.
Yeah.
And then just kept sort of working on it. So he sort of sent it to me piece by piece, which is pretty cool. Like, I got the Lego man first, then he sent me the car, and then he sent my name in the logo. And I was like, yeah, that's mad. And then I actually messaged him I reckon 6 months ago. I was like, hey man, I want to do another one. Can I do Hot Wheels? And he goes, you wouldn't believe it. He goes, oh, I actually just did Hot Wheels for Cal. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's cool.
Bro, I got a bit of a thing to pick. Hot Wheels, right? I was gonna do one too, Hot Wheels. We were all thinking the same. So like,
good, I didn't do it.
No, I was like, my son plays Hot Wheels. Yeah. Like, I absolutely love the cow shirt, like Ripper. I'm happy that, either one of you would have got it, because if it was someone else, I don't want that.
Yeah.
But I remember going to my fiance, like, monster trucks, like, I'm looking at my son, like, he's my target, like, for ideas. I even asked him, what do you want on a shirt? Like, because why not, And he didn't even say it, but I'm like, my idea was, though, like, to have my original idea for a Hot Wheels shirt was like the tracks like the loopy, but like on the packet of the Hot Wheels shirt when it's blue, and you can see like the little cars in the distance on the track, and then one real at you. I was like, on my one, I was gonna have like a sprint car on the track real close, but then in the background like a late one on a speed car. Because then it's like but little, not crazy. And I was like, but I want an animal on it too, because my son's animals. You know how like when as kids you could buy like the octopus set.
Yeah.
And I was like, for Australia, I want a spider. A big spider, And I was like, it's going to cost a bit of money, but I was like, I want to pay someone to make this Ripper, Yeah. And then anyway, I'm thinking, and I didn't have the funds, obviously. All my funds this year just went to travel, like, because I needed it, right? So I'm like, damn, I wish I had the funds. And then I seen Cow do it, and I went, okay, it's all right. Oh, actually, I was talking about Adelaide 500. That's where it was. He hadn't reached it yet. And I was like, I'm trying to get some merch. He goes, oh, yeah. And then his wife, Shani, showed me. He was like, we got Hot Wheels. I'm like, you son of a bitches. And then she's like, what? And I'm like, there goes my idea. And she's like, no way, really? I'm like, no shit. Like, I'm surprised no one come up earlier. So I've got it. I've got a few banked. I'll allow you to have some ideas, because you probably are going to get merch if you want some, because me buy merch is up. I got some rippers, and it goes back to like our childhood that I reckon would be zingers. I mean, maybe if I say it on here, no one can steal it. If they do, they go, you got it from the pod, you dog.
Well, I was just thinking that as well. I was like, you were talking about social media. I was like, I can't wait for the next, Facebook wars when someone steals someone's shirt design or...
Well, like, no, I mean, there's been similar ones. Like, you can't really own cars, bro. Yeah. I feel like cars is like, if Mick Saller wanted to do a car shirt, it's not because, let's say, Jock or someone's done it, bro. Like, let's be the real. The Cars movie has all the same cars. There's like 5 different NASCARs. So why not? Like, like in 2 years do a Cars shirt.
I painted Lego. I'm Lego. Like, for good.
If someone does, that's a bit different. That's a bit different though. Like that's a bit different. But like,
nah, it's cool.
There's a few that I got a vibe. I'm a bit worried that I know someone clever enough's going to come up with my ones. And I'm not saying I'm clever, but just. There's ones kicking people in the face all the time that you could just grab onto. And now, like, because I've with Binny, right, and our relationship, the one thing when I said, Binny, you got to come to Perth with me. It's going to be a really big trip for us. But I said, I want to push your socials, mate. Like, I don't want it to just be Codeman and this guy. I want it to be like Code and Binny. We're a pack, bro. Like, you get Codeman Racing, you get Binny. Or you get Binny, you get Codeman. Like, and that's our relationship's really cool. And on socials, I told him, I was like, Binny, I reckon if we get a shirt, people would buy your shirt, bro. And he's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, bro, just your Binny. Like the
Yeah.
bin chicken. That's just dumb as it sounds. It works, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
So I pitched him an idea the other day of like our first, like, I want to do like a rubber down shirt, not a Codeman
Yeah,
shirt,
yeah.
like a shirt.
Yeah,
and like I said, we're both going to be racing cars in it. And he's like, oh, yeah, great. And I said, can I make your head a bin chicken? Not you? And he's like, nah, put my head on it actually. And I was like, well, I'm giving you a fat mo. You're going to probably look like Mario or something.
Yeah.
But just
Love
there's so many ideas, and like you said, marketing and social media. Like, how are you with social media? I've got a little rumor that you hate doing it. Is that true?
Yeah, I do just like doing it. I just fucking don't have time to do it. And I'm not
What do you mean you hate it? Is it because you're like, this is true that I've been through. Is it because you're like, you're worried like this won't get many likes, this won't get many views, or like the comment sections?
Nah.
What is it?
I reckon just because I would have like, number one's obviously time, and the time links into, I'm always like, if you want to do something, I want to do it properly.
Oh,
So I have like
That's
an
me,
idea
bro.
in my head of, I have an idea in my head of how I'd want it to look proper. You know, like properly designed or proper reels or whatever it is. And it's like, I can't do that, don't have the time for it. So it's like, meh, in a sense. Yeah, I'd
well,
love to
don't
be
get me
able to
wrong.
do it.
Like with this podcast stuff, that was my one thing. Like Binny and I had this pod idea like back last October, and I was just like, "How are we gonna do it?" And then my brain went like, "Okay, well, I was gonna change this whole room to be a pod where he was gonna come here weekly and be like full." And then in my head, I'm like, I don't know if I have time to do that editing. And I'm like, what about for flops? That's a lot of effort and money I've spent. And like, look, the only reason I started podcasts is because like the pages have gone well. It's got something to start with. I couldn't imagine starting like a pod or something with nothing. Like you're just a stranger. Like even like now I've moved to rubber down socials. You go on them and you're like, oh, 13 followers. Oh,
Yeah.
you know, like, but it's like, it's okay. It'll come. Like, relax. Like,
Yeah, you got to
back
start
yourself.
somewhere.
You know. Well, no, just back myself. Like you've done it before,
Yeah.
you can do it again. You know. Or
Yeah.
there's a lot of time where I'm like, I haven't posted shit on my own shit. Damn it, I've been focused on the pod. Or, but you know, it's a battle, and I get like you said, it's like if it's not done legit way, don't bother, or half in, half out. You know, like.
Yeah.
Well, my motto is fake it till you make it, brother.
Yeah, that's true as well.
You know, I mean, I'll everyone says, oh, you know, I'm still faking it. And what I mean faking it is, I call myself the budget man. Like, this is done on a budget. Everyone thinks, you're everywhere, Code. How are you everywhere? I'm like, don't ask. It happens, but don't ask.
Yeah.
Okay? Why do you think I'm on my own? My family's not with me because there's no ticket for them. It's just for me.
Yeah.
You know, and stuff like that. But that also comes down to, like I said, support from, like you guys and teams and, you know, like, yeah, Code, jump in here, or, you know, come down the road and, you know, or do you want to come have lunch here? Like, you know, like stuff that really also makes it worth it that, you know, I'm not just the guy with the camera. It's like, you know, I'm person too. Like, you know, perfect example. I was out having a beer and having a night out with Binny, and we're at we're at the Cass, having a good night in Perth, and, met up with like some of the drivers and like he was just hanging out. I'm like, hey boys, how you going? Yeah. And then we're having a go on roulette. And I remember it was Newton, and he goes, Code man, what are you doing? How you going? I'm like, you know, my name's Cody, bro. Like I'm just there. And he's like, nah, you're Code man, eh? I'm like, sure, bro. But but like it's just, I guess when I don't mean the word like faking it. I'm not being a fake person. I mean like, you know, like people still don't think I do my shit on my phone, bro. Like I live on my fucking phone. Like don't get me wrong, I got all these plans and I've been looking at like getting cameras and like I want to take my shit to even like if people think it's good now, the shit I'm working on, I'm like, no, I'm going like you're gonna look back at the phone shit and be like, damn, that was a phone. But you know what I mean, like. But for me, it's how it works. I travel with my phone. I edit on my phone. My phone's at the racetrack. I don't need to carry on my laptop. Like even when I'm that flat chat, I'll even make my thumbnails on my phone. Like for my YouTube videos, I can post YouTube videos when I'm at a hotel with Wi-Fi. Like it makes it. People go, "How do you do it?" It's because it's all right here, where I'm not like I've got to open this camera, plug this in, transfer this, download it through this app. It's like, nah, bro. Like, for example, in Perth, I'd get up at 5 every morning after the race night, edit till about 10, Binny would roll out of bed at fucking 9, as usual. And
I've
then,
seen that on the video.
yep, editing. And Binny would be like, oh, we want breakfast code? Yeah, all right, yeah. And then go. And then I'd be loading, post, 12:30, back on the track.
Yeah.
And made sure I had enough data. Not data, storage on my phone,
Yeah.
with iCloud. I
Yeah.
swear I spent like another $200 when I was in Perth just on terabytes, of cloud space. Because some nights I'd be filming it and go, insufficient space. I'd be like, fuck. Just said, I'm like, please don't happen to the A, mate.
Yeah.
But then in my head, I'm like, it sort of makes the video less. I didn't film as much or stuff like that. So, but they are tiring and traveling and stuff like that. But even this stuff, I'm even trying to learn how to do all this stuff.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, one, I would like to have more merchandise. That saves me money. But like you said, if it's not done right, you don't have the time, don't try. This is, bro, I'm pretty good at it, with just little stuff, but that's next level.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't want to do it. I wouldn't go to a team, if I couldn't produce something like that, I'm not going to tell you I can do it. Because, why would I want to waste your time and just look like an idiot? Or say, like you said, with your socials, you could be pumping or, like you said, okay, the socials could be going. You could be, getting someone to do them for 2 months, a busy period, and then the next 10 months it's dead or nothing. So it's what was the point of all that then? Yeah. It worked, but then we didn't carry on with it.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but it is, and I remember Kim even says, we can get this graphic done and it's wicked, but then Mick just posts a nice photo of the car and it gets better likes. It is sometimes simplicity.
Yeah, sometimes
you know what I mean?
Real is just good.
Yeah, and another with the cameras, all I do is I do these mad screenshots on my phone, and do mad edits on my phone, and I'm self-taught, but you can't compete with those awesome photos Skeeny does, and Artist Speedway and some, the big dogs. They do some beautiful, their gear, you respect how nice. And they also have each, I would say, each content creator has a different eye. So it's good to have a mix. Like Skeeny, that. The one I always say of Skeeny is my favorite this year. I think he got it in Marcus's eye. And the camera was that good. That's just how great his gear is. But he's also really good with his gear. You can have all the gear and no fucking idea, right? Don't get me wrong. But he's that good, and you could see the reflection of the rock screen and that in his eyeball.
Wasn't his eyeball in the hole of the visor as well?
I think so, but it was just
yeah, it was crazy.
I'll tell you right now, that's Skeeny driving the car somewhere and thinking, oh, that'd be cool, eh?
Yeah.
Because that's how I do my shit. I'll be just something stupid, like a color of a chip packet, and you'd be like, oh yeah, oh that color on that would go with that. Oh, beautiful. Let's run with it. Or that's just how things work on that side. All right, well, it's been a ripper. Last thing I do want to dive into, and I know you had a rough year. Being a team racing at Sydney this year, brother. Wow.
Yeah.
Hasn't that been a roller coaster for the race teams involved?
Massive.
Just a few words, and there's, like you would say, there has been some good times. But it's when it's not good, it's not good.
Yeah, and I think that in anything, the bit of hope and the potential when it has been good, then when it's not good, actually makes it even worse.
Agree, because you're like, why is it so good?
You can do it. It can be good. It can, not do the list of things, and that just adds to frustration, right? If it was just terrible every single time, you might just end up living with it and be like, oh, it is what it is.
Welcome to Sydney. This is where the outlaws are.
But it can be good. So, it's
Would you say, that the inconsistency and the I would say that for me, the inconsistency and the communication on why it's not as good as last week is real that head scratcher for a race team. For me, it's like, okay, I film my turn up. I hope it's good for you guys. I can't judge how the track's done because one, I don't race on it, and two, I don't do it. But for a race team, the inconsistency of the communication, why is it good last week? What did you do different?
Yeah, look, I know it's Speedway. I know it's meant to be different. I know the track's never meant to be the same, but there's a lot of other things that that change in a different and inconsistent bar the surface, right?
Yeah.
In terms of the venue and formats that are randomly different and changed and all those sorts of things. So, it just the inconsistencies just add to the frustration, I suppose, and add to people not wanting to race or taking some time off, or there's a lot of teams that you see are like picking and choosing, and are they picking and choosing hoping to get a night that is easy on gear, and it's like, oh, got lucky tonight and didn't use tyres, or I'm not sure, but there's an array of reasons. But it's obviously a bit of a vulnerable time because I feel like in Sydney, I was just saying to someone recently, Sydney races have been murdered for like 3 years. The time we lost in COVID, and then obviously, also prior not having the speedway and Parramatta closing down COVID, and then we haven't had a Christmas period for 2 years prior to that as well in Sydney, and we've just had one now. And for that period, Sydney drivers fell off the map, to be honest, besides Marcus. There wasn't a New South Wales driver that would have struggled to be in the top 10 on a national scale. Queensland drivers just took off because they were obviously racing the whole period, and the rise of Newton and how good Lockie got and all of the above, and Jock was obviously in Queensland during that time. They went leaps and bounds ahead of everyone. You look at Sydney drivers now, you've got Michael Stewart, that's in my opinion top 5, top 6 in Australia on any given night anywhere. Matt Dumsney, I reckon's back to as good as he's ever been, as fast as he's ever been. Ian Madson's getting back to really good form. Marcus, obviously, he's always been there. And there's a couple others. They're starting to get back to being competitive everywhere. If we go through a part that we lose Sydney again, it's sort of going to kill us that we don't have somewhere to race regularly. So it's like it's taken Sydney drivers 2-3 years to have somewhere that they can race it regularly and find their consistency back and their speed to be competitive everywhere when they go to Toowoomba or big races and whatnot. If we lose it or we have to go through 2-3 months of no track, it's like we have to regain all that time again because there's nothing more valuable than seat time, really.
I never thought of it like how you said. I've always just said, the car counts are way less. That's what hurt.
Yeah.
But that side from being a racer in a team, you're like, well, bro, like we've got a budget. Like, okay, well, I guess we'll save our money to go do the hardest shows of the year.
Yeah.
Instead of racing, getting your craft at Sydney, getting your seat time, and then going, all right, let's run, let's travel. So, would you say has racing at Parramatta every week was completely different anywhere in the country? No wall, cushion, Kirby changing every week, but has Sydney with the wall actually encourage you to go, I can go a bit harder at these other tracks with the wall being there because I'm regularly seeing it? Or how does that feel being in the car?
Yeah, massive. It's probably a good point that you bring up as well. I reckon that probably adds to it a lot, that the fact that Sydney, for the start of this season, was on the wall every night made everyone so much better. I remember first night of the year we quick timed and it was like gut slick to the fence. I think we did.
Yeah, it sure was. I remember.
I think we might have done like 13.7, and we were like half a second faster than anyone in our group, right? Overall quick time.
Yeah.
You look at the supercar night. We all know it was like slick as hell that night.
Yep.
They had that top 10 shootout thing. Stuart went and did like 13.1 up against the fence.
Yeah.
The track was slick as ever, and that was like an insane lap. And I think we were fourth or something, and we did a 13.3 or 4, and there's all of us were really close, right? And I reckon that even just proves that we all just got so much better at running the fence.
Yeah, you're right. That's a perfect example right there. That time is, I reckon the track was probably better on the first night than what you were running on.
Better. And actually, I think Michael did a 12.9 or it was something crazy.
It was a 12.9. You're right, because I remember
I think we might have done 13. Madsen did 13.1 and we might have done 13.2 or something like that. Yeah, it was crazy.
It was on the fence. Like, no room for error. And it was very scary too, like that one lap. It's like, that's it. What's your thoughts on that? What's your thoughts on that? Like a dash versus a 2-lap thing, a gold shootout, or that? Like, what do you rather?
I'm not a fan of a dash, to be honest.
I feel like none of you guys are.
Yeah, I don't
Where
like
did
the
this
dash.
dash come from then? Like in
I
the
don't know.
world of racing, if no one
My
liked
thing
it.
for a dash, is this: is that it's 6 laps with another chance to crash off the start to try to make two
Yeah,
positions,
yeah.
and
You're in the first
depending
three
on how
rows anyway, bro. Like you're good.
and de- and depending how the track is, we could crash anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's sort of the big thing on that. Why I'm probably not a fan of it.
Yeah.
In saying that, I'm always keen for a shootout because I feel like this season our qualifying speed's been decent, so probably suit us
The
better.
time
But
thing, not the pole shootout.
yeah, I like the time thing to be honest.
Hmm.
That's my flavour. I know they say that the crowd wants to see racing, but if a pole shootout's hyped up correctly, I reckon it's interesting as hell. That's just my
One you
opinion.
said pole shootout again. Sorry, I'm saying like, do you mean like bronze, silver, gold thing?
Yeah,
Hyped
yeah,
up?
bronze, silver, gold.
I,
Yeah,
I I agree, but I see if it's communicated correctly,
yeah. The
how it's
hype
done
is
and
delivered.
hyped up, or yeah, like each driver gets their time, and the commentator, like, I'm not saying commentators do a bad job, but I mean just communication to the people in the seat, like, so why does this look like qualifying again? Oh, this is like, I don't get
Yeah,
me wrong. I reckon if we steal that little shootout word or format, how supercars do it, for the general pub who have probably seen supercars more than what our product, that would make a bit of sense. Oh, this is like for the feature. They're trying to where they start, the top guys. These are the best guys
yeah,
right now. Like
yeah.
instead of like a
Exactly.
dash
Yeah,
where it's like, is this another heat race? What's going on here?
yeah, yeah. No,
Because
I
that's
agree
what
as
it.
well. And
Mm,
I said that on the supercar night. That shootout thing was actually cool for the
I
fact
loved
that
it. I loved it. I
yeah.
thought it was ripper.
Think of Bathurst. I wouldn't know the numbers. I could be just talking total garbage here. But I feel like to the general population, the viewers for the top 10 shootout on a Saturday afternoon would have to be close to, if not higher than the Sunday race.
I watch it all the
Just
time. I
by
don't
the
even watch
start.
the race. I watch the
Exactly.
first
I'm the
10
same.
laps and the last 10 laps of Bathurst, and I always watch top 10 shootout just so I know, like, ooh, who's going good.
Exactly. And I know a lot of other people that aren't motorsport fiends that do the same thing. So I don't think you can be that naive and just say people don't want to watch qualifying, because we can do a 1 lap shootout of people putting a car on a fence, and that can be crazy interesting because we do it with supercars in the top 10 shootout.
Yeah,
And I
and it
reckon it's the
runs
most intense thing
quick.
ever.
It's quicker,
Yeah.
and if you junk it, it's on you, not,
Yeah.
and
Exactly.
less, like for a team, less laps on your motor and tyre
Yeah.
wear.
Yeah.
Like if you do,
Yeah.
like
Definitely.
I explained this before to people, if you're having a ripper season and you do 10 shows in a row and you make 10 dashes, that's 60 laps you've put on a motor compared to
Yeah.
6, if it's
Yeah.
that way.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's like, for a team, 60 laps is, and remember, 2 feature races. Like
Yeah.
they're things where if you're traveling and pushing, and like, it all adds up.
Yeah. I agree.
So yeah, I'm a big pusher on this. I feel like with that shootout thing, we could do like, get a sponsor for it each week and hype it up, and that's where you get like your big corporate sponsor on the infield for it, and because it's a bit
Yeah.
safer, and I don't know, like that could be a full reel, like proper for a racetrack social. Like, I mean, me with my phone, this is how, if I was working for a speedway, I would have filmed that bitch, edited it up in 3 seconds because it's only 1 lap, put the times on it with the text, and posted that before the B main even rolls out.
Yeah.
That's how quick it could be done, and that gets
Yeah.
your socials pumping. People at the track, if they have their phone, can see it from what the infield looked like, or how close you were to the wall in a different angle. And people at home that weren't watching go, "Oh, Sydney's on now. Top 10 shootout. That guy's pole. Let's go." Like,
Yeah. Exactly.
I don't know. That's just me
Yeah. So
thinking. Where,
true.
like, I tell you what, now if they do that again, I'm doing that for my socials.
Yeah.
Like, there's those
Yeah.
opportunities where phone is key. Like, we just got to start using phones a bit more to pump the sport up. Like, I even been saying, like, when I was on the mic at Canberra, I was like, "Yeah, film it and put it on your socials.
Yeah.
Who cares if it's shit? It's still on your socials. Like,
Yeah.
20 socials." So, and that's back to you. Keep doing your socials, you flog.
Yeah.
All right,
Next
mate.
season.
Last thing to finish off. Where does
Yeah.
I got 2 things for you. Where does Mick Saller want to be in 5 years? What do you want to achieve? It doesn't have to be racing. It could be life. Anything.
I feel like a lot's going to change in the next 5 years.
What do you want? Is there little things? It doesn't have to change. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Or I feel like a lot will change in business wise as well, in terms of a lot of sustainability and a lot of growth over the next 5 years. And I feel like once we cross a little bridge, it'll be exponential. So that's probably a big thing that I want.
So growing the biz a bit, yeah.
Yeah, and then obviously in the next 5 years, I feel like the next chapter of my life would probably change with my own family and whatnot. So yeah, obviously after that, then a fair bit could change too.
So what do you want? Don't say things are going to change, Flog.
No,
Come
I
on.
said so more than so. I would say in the next 5 years, I'd want a family and whatnot.
There you
of
go,
my own, so,
bruv. Little
yeah,
Mick
that would
running
be
around, or Mick
yeah,
X,
something like
or
that.
Mill Kaylee, whatever.
Something like that.
Yeah, it's very
But
comfortable. Trust me, it's best thing
obviously
ever.
just those in the next 5 years, and yeah, obviously just a lot of growth at work, and once you get that, then for me, it's makes things a lot more sustainable and can build the rest off the back of that.
Okay, all right. And to finish off, I'm going to throw some words at you, right? So they're going to be just one word at a time, and you've got to give me no more than 3-word answers.
Right.
So it's going to be one, think quick, not, okay? So like bang.
Hit me.
Call it quick fire, right? Quick fire with Mick Saller, right? Okay. Sydney.
International Speedway Racing.
Lame, but okay, sure. Your car next year. What colour?
White.
Oh, I tried to get you there. Very good. Very good. All right. Y56.
There's gonna be three answer words.
Short, quick, boom.
Oh, car came with it, so cheaper rego. Didn't have to pay no logbook.
No way!
Stuck with it.
Are you serious?
Yeah, dead serious. Because we did 5 shows. We didn't want to budget races.
And you're like, it's
Back
cool.
then.
56.
Yeah, just start 56. Got the logbook. Didn't have to pay another $600. So like, yeah, let's go.
That's gangster. All right.
Stay with it.
All right. And the last one
Yeah.
is Mark Saller.
Legend. I always say if I could be half the dad he was to me, I feel like I got measure up pretty good.
Of course. See, can't do the 3 words there, but nah, great answer, mate. Yeah. Awesome. Thanks for your time, brother, and we'll catch up around next season, and get the 56 back on the track.
Sounds good, mate. Thanks for having me on.
All right, we just finished our chat with Lachlan Court, which is on next week's episode of Rubber Down. That chat was with Mick Saller and myself. Now we got Binny here. A lot happened today. I felt like maybe the biggest day around the world for racing, brother.
Yeah, 100%. Like, you started the night off last night with the Monaco Grand Prix, which is probably one of the most prestigious Formula One events of the year. Just with the history around that sort of race and how technical the track is. And then obviously you went straight into the Indy 500 after that, which is basically IndyCar's version of the Super Bowl for them. It's the biggest race of the year. And then, straight over to Charlotte for I think they still call it the Coca-Cola 600.
Yeah, still Coca-Cola. We were getting confused that it was the All-Star race and they changed it.
Yeah,
so it's the Coca-Cola 600.
Yeah, so that's probably one of their biggest races of the year. Besides the Daytona 500, it's also their longest race of the year. We'll start off with Formula One and the Monaco Grand Prix last night.
Formula 1.
Yeah. Lando Norris went out and won it from pole, which a lot of people say that Monaco, you basically just got to get first in qualifying and you win the race, and he basically proved that that's the case still. Tried something different with the compulsory 2 pit stops in the race. My thoughts, were basically that it doesn't work. It only makes teams sort of use their second car as a hold up, and you saw that throughout the race with a lot of drivers holding each other up, and sort of wrecked the race really. Like, it only ended up being, I think, like 5 cars that finished on the lead lap, which isn't ideal. Yeah, nothing really major happened in the race. Pierre Gasly had a bit of a shunt going down into the bus stop chicane.
That was early
And
on, wasn't it? Very early on.
yeah, he ran up the back of Yuki Tsunoda and kept on running. And I said to a friend that I was watching the race with, I said, he shouldn't be running the car. Like, it's completely trashed. Like, why is he putting all the debris over the track? Only to find out later that he had no brakes, and that's why he was still running.
You couldn't even slow down to get in the pits. Yeah.
Yeah, because he had lost his whole front end, and like the front, I think it was the front right tyre was completely buckled. Nearly took his teammate out going through the bus stop chicane. But yeah, went all the way to the pits, and apparently he got stopped by one of the other pit crews because he literally had no brakes, so he just had to come to a rolling stop. I wish they had shown how they actually stopped.
And then I heard him on the radio, no brakes. I got no brakes. No brakes. No brakes.
But yeah, obviously in Formula One, it's a big thing that if you crash the car, you just bring it to a complete stop because you don't want the carbon fiber and shit spreading all over the track and causing punctures and all sorts of problems. But yeah, Charles Leclerc, home race, got a second place, and then Aussie, Oscar Piastri, home in third. Bit of a miserable day for the Works Mercedes team. George Russell and Kimi Antonelli basically had nothing. It's the first time I've seen two Mercedes cars get lapped in a race like that, which isn't ideal for the sport. It's always good when you have a lot of those big teams still running up there and on the lead lap. But yeah, I think the two-stop compulsory thing is a big talking point at the moment, whether that will go ahead or whether that will be the same for next year's race. I think a lot of the teams weren't for it. And yeah, I don't think it put on the best racing that the Monaco Grand Prix can do. My thoughts are the cars need to be a little bit less wide and probably allow a little bit more overtaking in that way because I think they're at something like 2 meters wide. So to try and pass around that track, I don't think you've been there, but I've been around Monaco, and Monaco is not a very wide place to begin with. Like even your road car, watching road cars drive around there, I was amazed at how they do it because it is tight around there. So yeah, I don't know how they're going to fix the Monaco Grand Prix, but I think making the cars a little bit less wide is a start because it's going to generate some more overtaking. But yeah, other than that, it was a bit of a Lando got out in front and just basically left it from there. And Max Verstappen tried to put a little bit of spice in it towards the end there, not doing his second pit stop till right at the last lap.
Yeah, I see.
Which made them all sort of made Lando, Charles, and Oscar all bunch up. Which would have been interesting if Max had done his pit stop as well, because I think they all would have been going pretty hard then. But yeah, that's Monaco, so that sort of wraps that up. And
the only thing I want to touch on, like I said, I'm new as an F1 watcher and keeping up to date with it. All over social media, bro, all I seen was everyone complaining that like F1 got to stop doing the Monaco race. It's just crap. Like when they say crap, obviously it's got a lot of history. It's probably one of the first city races they've ever done, and they always kept it in the system. But it's literally comments online or in group chats where it's like whoever qualified first goes in. Now you're saying that this was their way to see if it fixed the race, and you say it made it worse.
Yeah.
So
well,
where do they go from here with this race? They're not going to change the cars for one track. They're not going to do that.
No, but like next year, the regulations for next year are already out, and I believe they're making the cars less wide. Which again, I think the biggest problem for them at the moment is trying to get 4 meters of track around there to try and get a car up the inside to pass.
Yep.
Isn't really possible at the moment. And you look back on some of the previous Monaco Grand Prix with the older generation cars, and there was some good racing around there. Like I remember watching Fernando Alonso and Michael Schumacher around there, and they put on some cracker races. I remember watching the year Ricciardo won the race, and that year it was a good race. Yeah, I don't know whether it's going to fix it. I don't want to see Monaco dropped off the calendar because it is a historic race and it is such a prestigious event. And I don't think the Monaco Drivers Club will let it go off the calendar. But I see what people mean about it being a very boring race to watch. And I think the pit stop did spice things up for us at home, trying to keep our heads around what's going on with pit stops and stuff like that. But I think it definitely frustrated a lot of teams, especially Williams and Mercedes, because Williams basically told Sainz to hold everyone up and let Albon do his pit stops, and then he was going to do the same for him.
Vice versa,
Yeah, and it just caused lots of problems. And Mercedes were the ones that were sitting behind them at the front of that queue, so they were frustrated in the race. And and even Lando said it was a very sketchy race for him because coming around and coming to guys that are running 6-7 seconds slower lap times than you, and trying to get blue flags.
It's very off the pace. Like that's like B grade and A grade nearly in a way.
Well, that's basically what the Mercedes teams were saying. George Russell cut the corner at the bus stop chicane to pass one of the Williams.
Yeah, and then he goes, "I'm not taking the penalty. I'll just get it after." He didn't care.
And he's like, I'll take the penalty. And then they were like, oh, because he was such a smartass, they gave him a drive-through penalty, which was like double what he probably would have got at any other track. But
he was also saying it's dangerous. Like he's all over the place. Like I just want to get by him. But then the other driver did it too in the team, but then he gave it back.
Yeah.
So
Kimi dropped back because he was like, I'm not copping that penalty because I think the penalty had already came out by then as to what George was getting.
And it was in like the exact same spot too.
Yeah.
It was like so.
But the thing was they were braking like nearly 150 meters before where they normally brake. So I get where Mercedes is coming from. It's a safety issue. And I get where Williams is coming from saying, well, this is the way they made the rules. Yeah, this is the way they made the rules. We're playing it to our advantage. And they did. They ended up getting points out of it. And the race was good. Like Isaac Hadjar, he's still continuing his good form in that Racing Bulls car. I think I read something today that he's scored more points than Liam Lawson and Yuki Tsunoda together. So that's pretty impressive by him. But again, that second Red Bull car still isn't where it needs to be. And it's
not even honestly, like I said, I'm a new fan. I don't even look or hear of the other Red Bull. I just hear Max Verstappen. Like you know what I mean? It's just it's not even relevant, which is sad.
Yeah.
But it's just where it's at for Red Bull right now.
I don't think the second Red Bull car has been really relevant
for a while.
Like Perez had his time, but really I don't think it's been up into where Red Bull want their cars to be since Ricciardo.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't know. Maybe Ricciardo took something off the car when he left Red Bull and was like, you guys are going to go shit without that. Don't think he would have, but I don't know. I don't know how long they can go without that second car being up there, because if they want to be fighting for constructors' points, and being a season where McLaren is looking so good with Oscar and Lando, they're going to need as many points as they can get. And I don't think finishing 10th or 9th or anything like that is going to be good enough. It's going to need to be top 5 every week to try and win that Constructors' Championship.
Yeah.
But in a funny story, I don't know whether you are aware, but Max Verstappen before Imola 2 weeks ago went to the Nürburgring for a testing session.
Mm-hmm.
And actually signed in at the testing session under a different name. So he used Franz Hermann, which is like, he made it sound really German, so it sounded like just some random guy rocking up to the track to run this car. anyway, so he ran that, and everyone figured out that it was him. So they've been posting all this stuff about his name, like his alias and stuff. And Daniel Ricciardo actually posted on Instagram the other day, him driving a tractor, obviously in Australia.
Yeah.
And he put the comment of Frank Herman, as in like the Australian version of it.
Yeah.
So it's pretty funny, and like Ricardo even made it so that no one else could comment except for Max Verstappen.
Oh, really? Can you do that now? That's crazy.
So you go to the post, and it's literally, it'll say there's like 1,000 and something comments, but he's literally got rid of them all, and it's just Max Verstappen's laughing emoji.
Yeah, that makes it even. Yeah.
It's just, it's a shame that Daniel ever left Red Bull, really, because I think as much as they were coming to blows towards the end of Daniel's time at Red Bull, I think both of them are good drivers, and I think
they obviously
like,
get along in some way.
Still, with the two of them together, I think their relationship would only get better. And I don't know, Red Bull needs to do something. And as a Red Bull fan, it needs to happen.
Well, looking at the points, mate, like obviously Piastri's leading on 100. This is driver standing, not teams. It says 161. Nando's only 3 points behind at 158, and then Verstappen at 136. And then the next lot is Russell, not even in 100, 99. So the real story is going to be, can Verstappen overcome McLaren? And then we did talk about this a few weeks ago with who are they going to give the edge to for McLaren? Like there's going to be some internal shit going on here going, okay, who's blocking? Who's going for the win? You know, we did say, well, Oscar's so far ahead, but you can clearly see he's not. It's 3 points. So running first and second to these guys is going to be the difference. Now, are we going to see them race? Or it is stay in second, you're fine. So, like, that's a very... I couldn't imagine that. I mean, as a competitor, you want to beat everyone. But when you're in that spot as a paid athlete and it's your job to listen and just get results for the team, not yourself. Like, you know what I mean? It's not like you're Max Verstappen and you're Red Bull and you're going for how many championships. It's like, no, Max Verstappen wins them all, bro. Like, get out of the way. Or Lewis Hamilton when he was a freak. It was like, if you're the other Mercedes car, it didn't matter. Now we're at a spot where you got Lando, who's on the climb, like at his nearly peak right now, and he's probably going to be there for the next few years. Depends if they change the cars, like you say. And now we've got Oscar, who I don't reckon they've thought he was going to be this good this year.
Well, the thing is, so like I was looking at it the other day, and he's on Oscar's on a streak of like 34 races with points finishes. And I was thinking about it the other day. He crashed in practice at Monaco.
Yes.
I think it was practice 2 he crashed. And I'm like, I think that's the first time I've actually seen him crash by a genuine mistake from just him.
Yeah, not being involved in it all.
Yeah,
car,
every other sort of incident or anything like that he's been involved in, it's either been someone spun him or he's been collected or something like that. Yeah. Other than that, he's pretty much been consistent since he joined Formula One. Like, he hasn't been wrecking cars. He's been getting his laps. And I think last year he pretty much nearly finished every lap of every Grand Prix, which you're getting your seat time if you're doing that.
For sure.
So,
like we said, laps, he's getting them.
Yeah, like, I don't know what McLaren are going to do. I think it is going to come to a point with one of the Grand Prix or towards the end of the season, you're going to need to let them fight because they're two guys at the top of their game. And they're the same team, but I don't know how they're going to do that because it's sort of a double-edged sword. Like, it could cost you a Constructors' Championship, but it could win a driver their Drivers' Championship. So, yeah, it's going to be a tough one to see. And
well, the thing is with that, bro, like, if Max drops off, yes, they will let them race it out. But if Max is on their tail trying to push for his own championship, they will go, no, finish the race, he's in first.
Well,
or he's leading the points right now, give him it. Like the McLaren
Yeah.
want the driver championship. They don't care who's in it. They want the win and the win. So
Yeah, well, I think if McLaren can keep a Grand Prix, like a Grand Prix win, like points gap ahead of Max all year, I think it's going to be let them race because
but
in
like
the
I
end,
said,
if
it's
they're
got to
finishing,
be marginable in case something
yeah,
does happen when they're racing.
yeah, but like I think then it won't matter. Like it'll be finish second and third. Like they won't be stressed about that sort of stuff because they're going to win the drivers' championship. They're going to win the constructors' championship if they're still all up there. But yeah, it is a hard thing. Like I wouldn't want to be Zach Brown, who's in charge of all that sort of stuff, and deciding whether let him race or to start using papaya rules, as they call it.
The Monaco
Yeah,
strategy. Block him. Block
yeah,
everyone. Block.
yeah.
Legit.
So I don't know. Maybe next year they bring in for Monaco something like the like a minimum lap time you've got to reach every lap unless you're pitting or something like that. And make
That
it
would
so they can't
be-
slow right down.
Yeah, well, that they're just like it's all motorsport. They're just playing
Yeah.
within the rules. You know,
Yeah,
they're not breaking
exactly.
the rules, but they're exploiting them, and you go, "Oh, we got to fix that." Like
And that's
NASCAR's a perfect example. Old mate running the wall. Oh, he got into the chase, and you're like,
yeah,
"Hang on, he was just wide open wrecking his car on the wall." Soon
Yeah.
as they seen that, no, we got to fix that. Can't let that happen
Yeah.
again. So,
and that's exactly what James Vowles, the Williams team boss, said. He goes, "It's the way they've done the rules, and we've just found that loophole to make sure we are sure that we get points for our team."
and it's their job
Um,
to. They're getting
Yeah,
paid
exactly.
to do the best for their team. So you can call them cheats all you want, but it is not. They are finding a way to be the best at their job and tick off and get their
Right.
paycheck at the end of the day.
It's the same as you and me. When we go to work Monday to Friday, we always try and find the easiest way to do our job, do we not?
Not me, mate. Never. Never.
Well, whether it means that it's
yes. Oh, for sure, mate.
yeah, whether it's making a spreadsheet to make it 10 times easier to see the information you need to see, or doing something like that, everyone's got shortcuts.
Well, it's not a
and-
shortcut. It's just
No, but-
saying, hey, we're not going to win today, but this is the best result for our team. Are we allowed to do this? Rule book doesn't say it. We're going to do it. We don't care if we get slack for it. It's no different to any type of racing. It's not looking for an advantage because it's not making them win. It's not like they're cheating to win.
It's finding those loopholes to get around.
Another example lately is 410 sprint car wings in America. They're supposed to run flat dish, but under photos you can see those cheeky bastards are pushing limits and taking bellies out of them, and under air they're all pushed in like a wing dish. So that's only because of photography. You can't see that shit.
It's funny you bring that up because F1, the big talking point at the start of this year was people getting that DRS advantage when they were going down straights without the DRS open.
There you go.
Because they were making those pieces of wing at the back bend under pressure. So it was causing it to sort of open up a little bit and cause that DRS to sort of work. And now they've got like these little, I don't know how to describe them, but they've got these little dot stickers that go on basically the back of the car. Yeah. And if they don't stay level or something, the FIA can fine them or disqualify them for not having a legal wing.
Take a million photos and they can see, oh, right there it's flexed. That's abnormal.
Yeah.
So and that's the same as, I don't know how are they going to check it at the track. Let's say back to sprint car racing with the wings. What are they going to do? Hire a photographer, take a photo of every car of the wing, every lap.
Yeah.
How can you? They're finding ways. And, I mean, I've just watched a bit of the Dale Earnhardt documentary. What a doco. Oh, my God. If you got Amazon or whatever you watch your shit on, go and watch that. But he's a prime example of, I'm winning. And I'm doing whatever it takes to win. I'll find every loophole in that son bitch. You know what I mean? And it's not, like I hate this word cheating because it's not like there's a rule book and you're doing something that's in the rule book. They're just doing their job to fly through the rule book and go, well, it doesn't really say that. We're going to do it. And then when they pull us up, you go, hey, you got to fix your rule book then, not on us. And
Yeah, exactly.
that is not cheating. It's going, well, we showed you something that is good for our sport, but you don't want us to do it. Thanks.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's similar to that. So let's stick to the Formula One looking cars. Indy 500. Now this is the first year I've fully got invested in it. With following practice, learning it. I think it's a very different style of format of racing. It's not so much you qualify Friday, race, practice, finish. It goes for like a week or 2 weeks, this thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 2 weeks.
It's a big break. Like, no one even goes to the top 10. I mean, the qualifying for Indy. It's you see in the stands, it's all empty. And so they must make some cash off the TV rights for this stuff because, like, not many people are going because it's work time. But the big talking point, obviously the winner, Alex Ballo, started from 6, got the job done. It felt like the race went forever. It is a long race. But the talking point, there's 2 for us. The dirt sprint car world is obviously Larson. He had a rough day at the office.
Yeah.
But Scotty McLaughlin, mate, when I seen it on socials at work, I went, I didn't know what I watched because it was literally like, I mean, I'm not a race car driver. I am on a PlayStation game. Me and you mucking around and crashing, warming up and pressing restart. It was just... Yeah. I had to watch it 5 times to be like, oh, he wasn't even racing. Like, it was the warm-up before the biggest race of his calendar year. And he's starting top 10 with a crack to win it. A lot of people had him a good chance to win this year.
He was favourite. He was favourite to win.
And starting out of 10, he's favourite. Oh.
And... Well, he had a rocket ship in qualifying. Like,
his
car...
Remember, he junked it.
But like before that junk, he was literally. They were like, he's going to break the record for the.
So he would. They reckon he would have been pole if he finished his.
Yeah, correct. If he continued with what he was doing, he was going to get pole.
Yeah.
And even he said that he goes, I should he said it when he had that big junk. He goes, I should have let the throttle out. I should have backed off.
Yeah.
But he goes, it just happened so quick. And, like, you could see in the post-race interview with McLaughlin after today, he was just shocked himself. Like, he didn't know what had happened. And, like, exactly, he was just shattered. Like, and he's been the last few years, like, he only came into IndyCar a few years ago.
Yeah, he's fresh.
And he's been a top 5 championship contender for the last 3-4 years.
Yeah.
And this is one, I think this is like his, like, when he was in supercars, the Bathurst 1000 was all he wanted to win. Like, he didn't really care about the championship, and I think it's the same for this. Like, he just wants that Indy 500 win.
Yeah.
And I think he's got a good team to do it with. But yeah, I just hope he doesn't let this hurt his confidence, and he keeps putting in the hard yards and getting it done because, yeah. You're going to have those tough days.
Well, this style of racing, mate, it's so cutthroat. Like, you know, the F1 side, once you lose a seat, you're done forever nearly. Like, it's very hard to get back in an F1 car. NASCAR similar. And an error like that is a big mark.
Yeah.
Like all that's... Like, I mean, the qualifying wreck, probably not. It's like, oh, yeah, well, you're flying. You've put us in the top 10. Good job. Like, you were trying to go for pole, whatever. Still, obviously, a mark, like you junked the car. But this, not taking the green flag. Like, this could, like, lead to I hope not, but, like, if you're a teammate, if I'm that teammate, I'm going, this mofo, after all our work, didn't even take the green flag. Like, that's going to be there. And then you can say it's a driver error, warming up your tyres. He don't even know what happened. But that's still, there's no one to blame. It's not like something broke on the car. There was no evidence of that. It's not like, oh, something broke and he's gone. So it's going to be like, he better get that thing to the front ASAP so they forget about this. You know what I mean?
Well, the good thing now is they've got I think the next couple of races are road courses and stuff like that. So I
Which
think
is what he's very good at.
which is what he's really good at, and it's what the Team Penske cars are really good at.
Yeah.
And the other big controversy out of this whole week is obviously Team Penske being done
What
for
about that?
allegedly cheating over the last couple of years, and it's it's been proven apparently from what I've read
Well, how did his
that they
car
caught
not get
cheating.
involved in it?
So it wasn't his side of the team that was getting done.
Okay. 'Cause at first I heard
So,
it was all Penske have been delegated to the rear, and I went, what? Because then I thought it was
nah.
McLaughlin.
So it was Joseph Newgardens and Will Powers,
Will Powers,
were the
yeah.
cars that got proven to be the issue, which isn't good for the sport. Like Roger Penske is obviously one of the biggest names in motorsport, and
Yeah.
to have his name sort of tarnished like that isn't ideal. And if you go back and look at the success Penske had when he did run a supercar team, you sort of look at it and go, where they sort of
Oh, I feel you. I was
exploiting the
about to
rules
say
there.
that. I was about to say that.
Um,
Maybe some eyes went to the NASCAR teams now and go, what are you doing over there?
yeah, but
they're maybe not doing anything wrong, but it's still that flag of you got people can say shit now
yeah,
if they had thoughts.
and like Penske has obviously done some sort of internal investigations because they've sacked, I believe it's 3 team members now.
Yeah.
So
straight away, as soon as it got done, he went.
Yeah,
he
so Tim
had that
Cindric,
interview.
which was Tim Cindric, which was I think he was on the Joseph Newgarden car.
Mm-hmm.
I think the guy from Will Powers' team. So yeah, and like Tim Cindric is one of the guys that was Scott McLaughlin's big sort of ticket to go across and do
To
the
have a
whole
crack.
IndyCar deal. And was one of the big guys that came over here and sort of ran the supercars team with Dick Johnson Racing. Yeah, it really does tarnish Roger Penske's name, and that's a shame because the Penske name in motorsport is a good name, and they have a big fan base, and to have that happening isn't ideal.
Well, he even in his interview said, like now obviously he runs the track.
Yeah.
Indy 500's that. Like he's big in the series, and for him to come in question now, it's like, so how you run the track, how the track gets successful. Like I know it's just like you said, a whole person name shakedown. I'm gone. So what's been going on for years? Is this just the people you sacked?
Well,
of course they were gonna flag, and even if these people weren't involved to the heights they were said, there's gonna be 4 guys in the company this big. They got to look good straight away by getting rid of who they think is doing it. But we'll never know the true story unless we know people from it. But yeah, it's sort of. I felt like it took a bit for me. After I dove into it and found out, I thought it took a bit of sting out of the Indy 500 for me a little bit. Like just a little bit. Nothing, because I'm not too far in it. But then I did go, oh, that's not what you want to hear, is it?
And I think a lot of the drivers that like the drivers on other teams were like it. Like a lot of them are like
well, how long have they been doing it?
They obviously care that they've been cheating, but a lot of them are like it's been run and won. Like we don't want to be sitting here talking about last year's Indy 500 and saying that the win should be taken off him.
Yeah, great.
Because it's been run and done. He's not going to get his moment of drinking the milk and celebrating with the trophy now or kissing the bricks.
Yeah, the guy who runs second. Like no one cares. Like you won't want to do that. Yeah.
And yeah, I will touch on like a little bit some devastating news. Obviously, Marcus Ericsson finished runner-up again. Poor bloke just cannot get the win. And yeah, so it's a cruel sport sometimes, and he's just keeps being the bridesmaid. So
he's
hopefully
always there
next
at these
year,
races. Like I did before I got into this one. I sort of said, okay, I want to do my Codeman media reporting and learning a bit more. And you're like, is this guy going to win one? Poor bastard. Like he's there, and he even timed ninth this year, so it's not like he's been given the front row and then whatever. But it was really cool to see Schwartzman, the rookie, get the pole. That was probably that was insane.
Yeah.
Like that was just a moment in itself. Going, oh my god, a rookie's just got the pole position, and it was like last lap he got it too, like by not a lot. So.
What about him running into his pit crew today?
Yeah.
On pit road.
Hey, he's a rookie. Relax. Well, let's cross over to the man that links everything to dirt racing, Mr. Larson, Kyle Larson. His goal was to complete the double. Complete it. He wrecked in both. Not a day to be a Kyle Larson guy. I don't know. Is it just one of these things? Obviously, he's so competitive, and he always says in the interview he wants to win. He wants to win. But competing the Indy 500, is it gonna have to be one of those things where he's like, look, I don't want to push for a win. I just got to finish this bloody thing, because he crashed in practice and qualifying, and then he's again in the race. Like, of course he's pushing, and they're sending it. Kyle Larson sends things. But the Indy 500, like, if that's what he needs to complete, because he's normally NASCAR, no worries. Like, you run the NASCAR. Yeah, he wrecked, like, he started off front row today, led some laps, but then, just got, again, it was similar to an Indy car, got loose as shit, slid her out, did the Lightning McQueen big slide. And then I think got into another wreck. Then he was out, so he DNF'd both.
Yeah.
So as a Larson fan and what he's been trying to do, it's just all right, Kyle. Good try. Like,
Yeah, well, there's a lot of talks about whether he will do it again next year or whether that's done.
Because of the performance, you think?
I don't think it's because of the performance, but he's also been out in media this week saying that if someone offered him a ride in Formula One, he wouldn't say no to it. So I think the bloke just likes winning and competing, and if he gets an opportunity, he takes it. And you can see that by everything that he runs. He's just taking every opportunity with the two hands and giving it a go. So it'll be interesting to see whether he runs it next year. I think it's a big commitment. And I don't know. From the media that I was listening to for sort of the USA NASCAR side of things, they sort of said that NASCAR is his priority and Indy stuff's just a bit of sort of fun on the side.
Yeah.
I think for anyone trying to do that double is you just got to hope that all your stars align and things go well, because I don't think it is an easy thing to do. And I don't think either car is an easy car to drive.
Definitely.
So, I don't know. If I was Larson, if he really wants to do that Indy 500, I'd be making that my full focus. And if a team's willing to give him a ride for a year to do that, I do that. But I don't know.
He's too successful at NASCAR right now. It's not like NASCAR he's not in the picture. He can win every week.
Well,
as we can see.
Yeah, that's the thing.
So,
and then you look at sort of his speedway side of things. He can jump straight in a sprint car and be successful there as well.
Yeah.
So it's like,
I would say, like, for me, like right now, he is Hendrick Motorsport for me. I'm not saying he is to every other race or NASCAR fan, but he's my tie to NASCAR right now. But now watching it because of him, I'm starting to know a lot more guys and dive into teams. Like Christopher Bell, I'm another guy. Since he's jumped back in sprint cars this year, I'm like, oh, go Bell. Like, you're a weapon. Like Toyota, I'm not so much this manufacturer guy where it's only Chev and Toyota. I couldn't give a shit.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't care about that stuff.
But the race today in the NASCARs, mate, it needed to be a movie. It needed to be a movie. If someone was documenting this, which I hope someone... Because you know how when you watch a doco and you're like, why were they recording that? Like, who thought in 1995, let's record everything the Bulls did that year for Michael Jordan's doco in 25 years? You know, like, who... I don't know But man, if they got this could be like beat Days of Thunder in the arse. This movie, right? So I'll just tell you his weekend. Ross Chastain, he goes out in practice. Best car out in practice by far. Junks it. Tours it up in qualifying bad. They have to build a whole new car. They have to whoop. At 3:08, they only got 3 hours of sleep. And he started like 40th and won the race today. And I mean, nowhere in the picture, I was checking all day, he was. Like Ross Chastain, you're like, yeah, 10th and maybe 5th, and then moving. William Byron and Denny Hamlin, it looked like it was going to be one of those guys. Like Denny Hamlin, I feel like it's just, he's there. He's still Denny. Like they always say, is this going to be last year, Denny? He focused on the 23X, and he ain't ready to put that thing down. Like,
no.
He wants his championship, bro. William Byron, it was his home track, I believe they said. He's never won there. Looked great. But Chastain was just closing the gap. Gibbs had the lead, but he needed another stop. Like car was coming to the end. And with about 30 to go, commentators were like, oh, if Gibbs can get a caution here, he's sweet. He's good, but he needs it. Because they were just, Hamlin and Byron were just motoring him down. Like, they're like, he needs it, he's holding on. And then I think he even got lapped by the end of the race. That's how bad his car dropped off and how good their cars were.
Right.
Like a full lap, right? So then Chastain got Hamlin. Hamlin tagged the wall, got a bit loose. There was a scary moment for Byron. It was Gibbs again in front of him, got loose and nearly took Byron out, like for the lead. Like when he was a lap car, that's how far they come back around. But then Ross Chastain, just got the race lead with Denny Hamlin coming off pit road. So Denny Hamlin started racing off pit road as a lap car. And then that helped Chastain get the lead. And then Byron was there. Like, it was close. Not a bad finish. Like, it was close enough. But, yeah, like, even Joey Logano was nowhere in the picture. Like, he was a lap car by the end. There was a lot of lap traffic. But I feel like Charlotte just puts on a really good NASCAR race. I just feel every time I've watched Charlotte over the last 2 to 3 years, I'm like, oh, that's a good race. You know what I mean? It's not like a big super speedway where it's like, oh, one guy's just won by 2.5 minutes because that's just how good he was on the day or something. So I enjoyed the heck out of it, but yeah, just a sad day for Kyle Larson and what he's trying to achieve. And just I want to touch on your Indy thing. I know how they said, but I want to focus. But I'll tell you right now, Indy will always offer Kyle Larson an opportunity because he brings eyes to the Indy 500. He brought me the last 2 years. I'm a dirt speedway fan. He brought me to NASCAR and he brought me there because he's just a guy that I know from dirt racing, and his social media power is strong AF. So Hendricks being back in there, him running the 17, like he even sells that much 17 merch. He's 5 and then 57. Like, you know what I mean? Like people just buy his merch, and the colours match up, and I don't know. I just think from what I've heard of Kyle, and, when we spoke to him, he's a pretty chill guy, but he says he's so competitive. I think he just wants to get it done.
Yeah, I agree.
He looked and just sounded, normally he's like, yeah, Kyle's no good. But today he was just talking to the media like, yeah, I know. I'm not happy. Yeah, and he was just waiting for the questions to stop because he was pissed. But just a lot on him, So
it's also a massive day like that.
Bro, it's not like it's 2 30-lap sprint car features. It's like how many hours? 12 hours in total? Like 4-hour NASCAR race, and how long's the Indy race?
Well, Indy would be like at least 2.5 hours.
So it's like 8 hours of racing plus you're traveling. Like, no wonder. Like he would be one of the best in shape racers around the world today. It's not like when Tony Stewart was back then. He's probably doing gym and shit, but he still wasn't probably in the shape the current drivers are. Yeah. So,
although I did notice today, I don't know whether you noticed it on the coverage. Is Kyle Larson rocking a mullet?
I think they're cutting him in. They're cutting him in. Maybe it's Alex Haddard bringing him back. Everyone's jumping on board.
Yeah,
Reutzel,
I looked at his
100K
when he had the hat on.
like... Yeah, I think it's your mullet. It's the Binny mullet, not the aggressive one.
Yeah.
Just I think it's the winter. Maybe it's that winter Viking look. Like, I mean, the Aussies.
Yeah, maybe.
No, I don't know.
I don't
My
know,
beard's
but
thick
I
as,
saw
but
it
I
and
don't
I
want
was
to
like,
shave it because I look FAT. I'm not shave it, so I'm trying. But it's too red. It's disgusting.
yeah, you look like Santa Claus.
I got a. I'm
Santa Claus
starting
has
to
a white.
look at this bald patch here, though. I can't get hair
Um,
here. But yeah.
on the NASCAR side of things, we'll go to another Kiwi that had a bit of a good result today, unlike Scott McLaughlin. Shane Van Gisbergen scored his best oval finish in NASCAR. Ended up 14th, so
Pushing
pretty
those
good
top
day for
tens,
him.
baby. Pushing those top tens. I even think
Um,
he got into a bit of a wreck, if I'm right. I
uh,
think I seen a
yes,
highlight.
he
He was
did.
spinning or something. Let me
Yeah,
just
he,
try to
he
get
got
that back up.
involved in a wreck with Ryan Blaney and Chase Briscoe.
Yeah, so top. I
Which
mean, to get back there still is.
yeah, he said the car was pretty damaged, but yeah, was able to sort of keep it under control
Yeah,
and
here it was.
get to the end.
Jimmy Johnson.
Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah, well, he's in the Red Bull car, isn't he? 87 Red Bull. Isn't that good in Gizmo?
Yeah, in the 88 car.
Oh,
Not the
87. Who's 87?
Good question. That's Cole Custer.
Well, then that wasn't a
think?
wreck. I thought that was his wreck. But anyway, that's
No,
good.
no.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
So,
Yeah.
but
Hmm.
yeah, so that's sort of NASCAR side of things as well. What about you, Code? You've been busy the last week with all the amount of speedway action that's been on.
Oh, it's so good, Binny. This is where people go, what do you do in the off season if you don't go to America? I got plenty to upload and post about, bro. It doesn't stop. This is where we need to, as a speedway community here in Australia, post our stuff as much because I don't want to see the Americans going, oh, there's no racing on and I've got to wait 4 more months till racing. Bullshit. We race as well. It doesn't stop sprint car racing. The results have been awesome. Like some of the racing over the weekend, and even if you've got like Dirt Vision or Flow, just look at some of the other races like the IRA bumper to bumper with Sanders and Goldbrick. They're just banging the cush down. Like it doesn't have to be a high limit or an outlaw show. Like they're racing hard, bro. And they're, another thing I will say, when you're watching American racing, the ones that aren't in the high limit and the outlaws, majority of them are racing for their living because the money for the sport there is good. Like Knoxville the other night, I think it's 1,000 to start the feature some nights. And that's just a local show. There was only 24 cars. Everyone made it. So you rock up, start, boom, good payday. Move on. I don't know if it was the other day. I don't know if it was because it was 6K to win. But yeah, you got places like Who Sits now. I think that was on today, so I actually didn't see that one.
Come on, mate.
Kitty cats. I was watching it today.
You're the resident speedway person.
Yeah,
what are you doing?
I know. I'm not gonna lie. I forgot it was on. I was watching everything else today. So, maybe it's today. No. Oh, today's event. Oh no, there was one today, Memorial Weekend. Let's see who got up there. 410 sprint cars, a feature. Because I think Kerry Madsen was there. There you go. No, that was the other day. So that's old. What was today's date?
I don't think there was one today.
What was today's date, Uso?
Today's date is the 26th of the 5th.
I think they ran again, and I think Caleb Johnson won again the Wildcat. He's been on fire there.
Yeah, right.
Caleb Johnson, let's go on Houston's page. They're really good with their socials. 6 hours ago.
Oh, there you go.
Yep. So 3 in a row for Caleb Johnson at Houston's. So he's a weapon. He's going really well. There is a race again tonight. They just said.
Yeah, okay.
It's the 26th, so tomorrow. But yeah, Kerry Madsen got second. Landon Crawley was ripper there last week as well. Got caught up in a lap car. He was third. And besides that, Riley Goodnote, who's running Australia in the 45 Camden car, he ran 11th. Tim Kading was there, 20th DNF, and Ryan Timms DNF'd as well, coming off his Knoxville win. But yeah, so with Houston, you see a lot of the Knoxville guys it's about 4 to 5 hours between the tracks, Houston to Knoxville. So that's where you see a lot of the guys, if they're running at Knoxville regularly, they're running at Houston. Because again, that's their living. You can race twice in every weekend, and that's your living. So, let's talk about this Pennsylvania guys. You got Dietrich, Macquarie, DeWeese. They're running that's how they make their living. Like Anthony Macquarie, t-shirt sales plus last year I think he was like in the top easy 10 in American sprint car earners, and he didn't even run a series.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they don't have to run a series of... Well, it's impressive, but it just shows how much money is in the sport there compared to what we have. There's not a lot of tracks where you can go each week here and be like, it's my living, because one, how much it costs to race, and two, what you're winning. So, and the sponsor, it's just... Okay, a perfect example is Ryan Newton's car. On the front wing, even here in Australia, they run Pennsylvania, Gettysburg... Napa. That's an American sponsor that when they go over there, they keep that sponsorship. It gives them, they look after them with tools and stuff to go racing. You don't hear much of that here.
Yeah.
Like, people just go, yeah, here's some cash.
Yeah. Put a sticker on the car.
Yeah. But he wants that sticker on here in Australia. So, because it's like, when you come over here, we'll sort you out. So that's just the mindset of when people go, why is there so much racing on it? It's because it is their living. Like, they can race and make it happen, or they're good with their sponsors and their T-shirts are so important. Like, it is a full-on thing, these T-shirt alleys, these T-shirt trucks, how they do all that. Like, that's how top-notch it is. So we'll get into the results anyway. We'll start with the World of Outlaws. So the World of Outlaws had a rain out, but then they raced at Attica Raceway, and it probably put on one of the best outlaw races I've watched this season. It was between Schuhart and Hordenchild. Now, normally when Hordenchild's on the front and that thing's on the top, it's over. That's just a Shelton Hordenchild track. But Logan Schuhart, they've really took a turn this season with that 1S, and when that thing's in their front S, normally it's over. Gravel actually didn't have one of his best nights. Struggled, sit around 10th, but again, the guy in second, Buddy Kofoid, was further down than him. So it was a night to really gain some points. Didn't capitalise there. So Logan Schuhart rejoined. Are you going to bed, babe? Yep. What, Morgan's just doing the cats in here. Meow. Meow. So yeah, I'm just getting up the points now, what happened with the Outlaws, but it was definitely a night where some of the guys that needed to make some ground on gravel just could not get it happening. You got points up there, Binny?
Yeah, you got David Gravel, and then back 172 points behind is Logan Schuhart.
So he's jumped Buddy again. See, there you go. Buddy was second just before this round.
Then you got Buddy, who's 184 points behind, and then Carson Macedo, 220 points behind them.
So, real quick, can you tell me what's the gap between Logan Schuhart and Gravel?
So 172 points, and then you go over to the high limit side of things.
No, that's what I'm getting at now. So I've got the high limit right in front of me. Now, up to sixth is under that. So it just shows how closer the series is. And again, you haven't seen Brad Sleeping winning, but that mofo can just finish near the front, and you forget about him.
This consistency.
Same as Courtney. Brent Marks, it's a ripper. He's third. Well, that's where we're leading to. Brent Marks, the first night of the Bob Whittaker. Hopefully I said that right. It's Whittaker. I heard him say it 1,000 times. You know I'm bad with names. So, sorry. It was a memorial race for a legend of Pennsylvania racing. And night one got rained out. Night two, though, I was expecting a juiced up track. I got the complete opposite. dead gut slick in qualifying. They were lucky to get under 18.5s. Majority of the blokes were in 19. Some of them were running that low. They were trying to take their front ends out on the concrete wall. Like, I was like, oh, they're going to hit it. Like, Cy Lynch had a really good night. He was one of the guys I thought that front end's coming out. He's too close to the inside wall. Qualifying position was really key that night. So they did 2 separate nights, and it was still all points. So it was like, we qualified, you got good points, and then you started at like an 8 or a 6, and it was passing points. So mini classic, but no inverter heats. That's how I sort of looked at it. It was like you had to start 6 and move, or you're cooked. And then they did a dash redraw, but there was no dash. It was purely just for the starting lineup of the top 10 in the feature. Brent Marks, I think, started 4th. But yeah, it was a dominant night for Pennsylvania guys. And I think that was purely because how gut slick the track was, and they've run a gut slick track like that at Pennsylvania. But Brett Marks is a guy who's run at Pennsylvania a lot, and it showed. It just got up on the fence around the feature time, and it just felt like it got further and further and further up. And, for example, Brad Sweet was about to be lapped as he was coming to checkered flag. Like, that's just how off some of the high-limit guys were. They were nowhere to be found. And I like that. I like watching it when the PA guys stick it and go, yeah, the PA guys are on tonight, you know? So,
yeah.
But then night 2, it was a brand new night. Well, night 3, technically. Brand new night. Oh, that's a fresh shit, isn't it? How good's that? Go clean that up. Far out. Welcome to Pod Life, Binny. I'll take my face off so Morgan can get in the background there. Jesus Christ. That's fucked.
Intermission.
Oh, my God. Anyway. Oh. It's not the first time we've talked about shit on this episode. That's not good. So yeah, the second night of high limit, or third night technically, some of the outlaws showed up, like Logan Schuhart, David Gravel. But again, it was a restart, so qualifying was major in points. David Gravel and Logan Schuhart, I think, actually topped the polls. So, you know, it looked like all the outlaws coming to town, and they run Supreme. Track was had a bit more moisture in it. But the big move, and literally everything just went right for Aaron Reutzel. He started 6th, had the best start in his heat race. I think Chase Dietz got loose on the bottom, and like he just split him. And then Lance DeWeese is known, you know, for running the bottom. Right, tries to roll the bottom, leaves 1 and 2 wide open for him. He goes in, is in 4th, rips around Luis, and cuts in TJ Strutt. All of a sudden he's in 2nd. I think even Brock's ear force broke down. Yeah, so he went like 6th to 2nd, said he's not up highest points, and then he rolls the 0. So he gets the 0, and I look at him running the 0, and I'm like, oh, Reutzel's on. Like, we've said it all year. When Aaron Reutzel's on, it's like, oh, lights out. So, and he drove away. Gone. There was a little bit of a thing where Macri was coming, but there was a huge wreck, my guy. Zach Hampton. It was literally an iRacing wreck. It was that big. Now, we talked about Luke Thomas's wreck the other week, how it was scary, this stop. But I'll tell you right now, more drivers would take that stop over what Zach Hampton went through. Oh, my God. He literally goes into 1. Classic. Gets Brian Brown's back of the right rear. So, like, the car zips like a slingshot. But it hits him dead right from the bottom, head on to the outside wall, bends the chassis and nearly knocks the motor out. And then as he's coming back down, Denny Sims III just slams into the back of his roll cage with a right rear. And like,
that's a heavy hit.
It was huge. Like one of the biggest sprint car wrecks I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, I'm just watching
You're
it
watching
now.
it now?
Oh,
It is
that
big.
second hit would have hurt.
And that was close to being really bad, the second hit, because, you know, it hits the fuel tank off, explodes, you never know. So it was a gnarly wreck, and he got out talking okay, but they're going to build a whole new car for, you know, today if you're listening, because they're racing Outlaws tonight.
Yeah.
So that was the risk of them running.
You can see how bent that is when he's coming down the track.
It's broke. It's snapped. Like, and the engine's hanging on, nearly falling out of the car. So, yeah, they would have been working as we speak, probably now still, for today's or whatever when you're listening, Outlaw event. David Gravel got a nice 5th or 6th. But yeah, it's just again, it's another big race. It's Pennsylvania's biggest ever paying race. And Aaron Reutzel gets on the wing, and they all don't like him in PA, so he does the old money signs and like, can't hear you, I'm winning too much money.
Yeah, same.
Which
that.
I mean, if you're gonna soak into it. Why not? I'd be like,
Denny Hamlin does it.
Yeah, like that gets, I know it sounds like clickbaity or whatever, but it gets social media pumping. Like, even on my post today, I had angry emojis that he won. Like, not many drivers get angry emojis on my post when they win, so it just shows, like, he plays it up. Like, you don't like me, good. Like, it isn't Denny Hamlin of our sport. And I don't know, I just feel like there was a moment even last week with Aaron Reutzel involved and Cody Harbaugh where they're racing down the front straight. Reutzel goes right to left over his left front. Now, I didn't see this, but then all I seen was Cody Harbaugh throwing the steering wheel at him. Like the old classic a few years ago. The old rage, you know? Now, for me, I look at that and go, Jesus, he threw a steering wheel at him. He must have done something bad.
Yeah.
And all the comments were like, this is where like social media is shit. They were just all bagging Reutzel, classic Reutzel. And I wrote in the comments, has anyone actually seen what happens? Like, not because I have, just before you just start hating on a dude, which that's what I always put my hand up. When media, I feel like I never even look for that shit. And I look at it and go, oh yeah, it's a pretty tough racing incident. Like, they're racing for the same real estate. Reutzel goes like that. Like, just over the front. Doesn't junk the guy, just spins him out and then he tags the wall. It's not like he read him or anything. But, I don't know. I'm not defending Aaron Reutzel's move. I just feel like as soon as Aaron Reutzel's involved in something, everyone's just like, yeah, dog.
Yeah.
You know? But if you did just listen to this episode, anyone else, like, I just talked to Mick Saller about the Aaron and, you know, what he was like. He goes, yeah, he works hard in the car and, yeah, he doesn't care if no one likes him. He just wants to win. So, you know, and that's just, you can't blame a competitor for being competitive. This is what it is at the end of the day. But yeah, so besides that, in the racing world, we had Knoxville. Ryan Timms, they've got that thing locked at Knoxville at the moment. Like a good dominating wing. Kerry Madsen, good third place, I believe, as well. But yeah, it was, I wouldn't say, it was a busy weekend in sprint car racing. But all eyes were majority on Port Royal. Well, for me, it was. I'm looking, it's like when Perth's here. 100 grand, I'm going for it. Aussie side of things, Brock Hallett made his first appearance with the Outlaws at Attica. So he's over there for his second year in a row, I believe, with the GW Racing. So just like Brock Hallett's car here, so it looks cool watching it on TV. I didn't see much of the Outlaws in him, but he did end up 11th in the B main, first night out. And Ryan Newton ran at Lincoln in Pennsylvania instead of Port Royal and that, but he was 7th in the A main. Started 6th, ran 7th. So making the top 10s in America, it's still hard to do. You talk to any Aussie who goes there and, you know, you go there and say it's hard straight away, but it doesn't matter what field you're in, especially Pennsylvania. Doesn't matter if you're at the big show or the small shows, it's sprint car racing, man. So Linton Jeffrey was 7th at Knoxville. You know, he's just basing out of he's in the black Tron car now, the 39. So he's basing out of Knoxville. Kerry Madsen's still doing Kerry Madsen thing. That's 2 podiums in 2 nights. 3rd at Knoxville the first night, 2nd at Houston tonight. So yeah, high limits.
And Corbett's over there now.
Jai Corbett, yes, starts this week, I believe. So going to try keep posting as much Aussie stuff just on my stories, and every sprint car post I do, just their results. Keep them all in it because they deserve that. They're the show. But yeah, brother, that's all on the sprint car world, I guess. I don't think I've missed anything. Like the Dell in 2 weeks. I'm going to head to that. That'd be cool. I've never been. I can't wait. Kobe Wright's racing too, so spend some time with him and check that out. His family all about the micros, just like Lachlan. So, yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Big show, brother. Is there much racing into this weekend for us to talk about? Obviously, sprint cars every week, but F1, supercars, when are they coming up?
Yeah, so F1 has another race this weekend at the Circuit de Catalunya.
Oh, that's
so in
hot.
Spain.
Yeah.
So that's the last of their triple header.
Mm-hmm.
And then I believe
I can fly.
I believe supercars are at Perth.
Yeah, they were tracking it there.
I believe, yeah, so that should be this weekend coming up.
Okay, cool. Well, we'll look into it, and then we'll have something to talk about, I guess. Hey?
Yeah, so, some supercars and F1 action, always good when they're on the same weekend, because it means I get to watch motorsport all day.
Beautiful. Yes. All right, Cobbo, we'll let you go. It was a ripper chat we have with Lachlan tonight, so that's on next week's episode if you're listening now to this one. All right, peace.
Jackers.
Remember, don't watch if you're driving. Listen, please. Say something responsible, Binny. Come on, help me out. That was pretty good.
Please gamble responsibly.
Sure.